Cavs, you'll figure it out. And by the way, they could plan in accordance with that. You're going to have Miami on a bunch of national games anyway because you have Giannis there. Cleveland's pretty good, so you should maybe schedule them a little bit. He's not going to Philly. Come on, we think LeBron signing with Philly? The report was funny when, I think it was last week, when I was like, wow, LeBron has some concerns about Joel Embiid staying healthy. Yeah, you think? You think? Who doesn't? I mean, obviously that's okay. Yeah, if Embiid was healthy, and now Jaylen Brown going, if everything happens, it all comes together. Maxey develops and everything else that they had, their VJ Edgecombe, then yeah, and LeBron goes there. If Embiid stays healthy, they can be great. It's a pretty big if. He's never healthy ever. So even with Jaylen Brown being in Philadelphia, I could see the appeal of LeBron wanting to be a hanger-on again, like he was in Miami. I could see the appeal of that. But ultimately, if you're banking on Embiid to stay healthy, and then you remember oh yeah, it's Philadelphia, a guy who's played in Miami and Los Angeles, when he chooses to go somewhere, Cleveland, hometown Cleveland, Miami, or Los Angeles, you think he's going to choose Philadelphia? I think not. And even LeBron, and it's actually nauseating. It's nauseating with LeBron. And Rich Paul coming up with a whiteboard. Oh, it would have been the Knicks. Had the Knicks not won the championship, it would have been the Knicks. Yeah, okay. Well, guess what? You had your chance to go to the Knicks. You didn't want to do it. You didn't want the smoke. You couldn't handle the challenge of it. And now you want to be a hanger-on again with Jalen Brunson and everything that he's built? No, thank you. Oh, Jalen would have to make that call. Good for Jalen Brunson addressing it the way that he did. I think it was this last week at Fanatics Fest where Brunson was asked about it. And he said, my job is to go out there and play basketball, put the ball inside the hoop, facilitate the team, lead the team, be a captain. Other people are hired to make the decisions on the roster. Good for Jalen Brunson. I'm not calling LeBron James. That's what he really was saying. If you read between the lines, Jalen said it the right way, as only Jalen Brunson could. Jalen Brown, wash your mouth out with soap. As only Jalen Brunson could. But really what he was saying, I'm not calling LeBron and asking him to come here. What do you think this is? Rich Paul, LeBron, get the hell out of here. I'm the champion. I'm the king of New York. Or even, dare I say, a sports god. I'm that. I did it. I took on the challenge. I am reaping the benefits and the rewards of that. Not LeBron. We didn't need him to win it. We don't want him after this. So LeBron is still down to 3. I'm a little surprised, though, that the Warriors didn't make that final third there. And it's not just because of what Steve Kerr said or the fact that he was playing golf with Draymond Green. It feels like that would have been a better fit. You stay on the West Coast, stay in California. Steph Curry, you get a chance to play with him and Draymond, not to mention him. So that to me would have been at least more appealing for LeBron than the thought of Philadelphia. But it appears we're down to 3, and now we just wait and wait and wait. I mean, we're waiting now 3 weeks for this guy, right? July 1st, 1, 2. Yeah, tomorrow will be 3 weeks exactly. What is the holdup? What's he waiting for? The moves are made. You know what's going on. You don't he doesn't know where he's going. If he said, quote, it would have, and he didn't say this, but Rich Paul said it would have been New York. Okay, well, why would it have been New York if they didn't win the championship? And then what's the now draw? Is it because it's New York and another big market? Was it because you're trying to be the final piece to push them over the edge? That's the challenge that he's looking for? Here's what I want. Now, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm not going to lie to you. It's good to be champion for now. It's good to be king. But here's what I want. I always wanted this. I didn't even want LeBron James in 2010. I wanted to be able to beat LeBron James. And it took forever, but finally the Knicks built a team that is, in fact, a champion. You know what I want next year? I hope he goes to any of those teams. Miami, Philadelphia, Cleveland. And I look forward to the challenge of beating LeBron James. But just make a freaking decision already. Good God. It's not like he's in his prime, at least with the Miami situation, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, whatever. At least that with Jim Gray, the sit down. I'm taking my talents to South Beach. Good God. I can't believe that's been 16 years ago. Nauseating. Puke-inducing from LeBron James and the decision back then. But now, I didn't like him back then, but he's matured. And the fact that he went back to Cleveland and delivered them a championship, I like that LeBron. But he's 41 years old. This is not LeBron in his prime. He's not going to be the pendulum that is going to swing the Eastern Conference. As you look at the odds here on YouTube, on You Better You Bet, I still like the Knicks. I think the Celtics have gotten worse. The Sixers are still the Sixers. How about this? The semi-Sixers, Philadelphia semis-Sixers, get it? Because they can't get past the semifinal round. The Philadelphia semi-Sixers, how about they get out of the second round of the playoffs before we start thinking that they're a threat? With or without LeBron. With or without Jaylen Brown. Players have come and gone. Good draft picks, good trades, different players, different iterations. Joel Embiid has remained, and the Sixers haven't gotten out of the second round. That has been the fact. Get to a conference final. Then maybe we could talk. Then maybe you'd get our attention. Would LeBron even be the final piece to push them over the hump to get to what he... Like, maybe that's why he wants to go to Philadelphia. Well, I don't have to win a championship. I just got to get them to the Eastern Conference final. And then they'll build a statue for him. Right next to Rocky. Hey, yo, LeBron. Go back to Miami. I mean, Pat Riley seems to think it's possible. I hope he goes back to Cleveland because I think it's a better story. And again, I don't care which team he goes to. Any of those three, I look forward to having the Knicks beat LeBron James in the Eastern Conference. Like, if I'm Jalen Brunson, I'm looking at, okay, well, we dismissed of the Hawks, whatever. We dismissed of the Sixers, whatever. Cavs, same thing. Beat them. Beat Big Bad Wemby and the Spurs. Now I'd be looking to take out Halliburton and the Pacers. And I'd be looking to take out Miami. Those are the two teams I want to beat. So from that standpoint, I love to, because the Knicks haven't beaten them in recent years. Lost to both in the postseason, as a matter of fact. So I'd love to see LeBron, and even if LeBron doesn't go to Miami, still with Giannis, be sweet to beat him. And the same thing with the Pacers. But, I mean, wherever LeBron goes, okay, he's going to make, you would think, make the Cavs a little bit better, make the Heat a little bit better, maybe make the Sixers a little bit better, although I'm not so sure that anybody could help the semi-Sixers. But like, we're treating him like he is, I know he's an all-time great. And the way that I would say it with LeBron is he's a player. Now, I'm a Jordan guy. I'm not a Jordan fan. I mean, I hated Michael Jordan's guts all those years. Matter of fact, I hated him so much that I couldn't even fully appreciate Michael Jordan, which years later, as I matured, you know, like that 55, the double nickel game at the Garden when Jordan came back against the Knicks, that ruined my school year. I was, I think I was 15 or so, in maybe 11th or 12th grade. No, what year was that? That was 95, right? No, 90, yeah, 95. Anyway, when he came back, I was probably in like 10th or 11th grade. Anyway, point is, I remember being sick the next day. And my English teacher was like, she used to talk like this. Did you guys see Michael Jordan scored 55 points? Isn't that remarkable? And I'm thinking, Miss Cap, just teach us the freaking words in the book, will you? I don't want to hear about it. I couldn't sleep last night. Bill Weddington, come on. So I couldn't stand Michael Jordan. You know, he passed to Weddington. Weddington got the game-winning bucket after Jordan lit the Knicks up at the Garden in his return. Anyway, couldn't stand Michael Jordan or appreciate him, but I still think he's the greatest basketball player that I've ever seen. LeBron, however, he makes it look easier than anybody else has ever made it look before. He's a physical specimen. The guy's a beast. He's just been a man amongst boys his entire career. And he's still a tremendous player, but he's nowhere near what he was. And he's bringing us through this rat race again. Is that the right way to use it? Rat race? He's bringing us through this waiting game again. I don't want to lie to you and say I don't care. I do. But just make a decision already, bro. I care more about golf LeBron than I do about NBA LeBron now. He's been playing more golf and enjoying himself on the golf course and having some fun. Good for him. By the way, I would also recommend, like, if you're LeBron James, why just get off of social media. What do you need it for? You're on top of the world. You've got one of the best athletes that's ever lived. One of the greatest athletes, whether you think he's better than Jordan or not, he's unequivocally one of the greatest athletes that has ever graced this earth. Ever walked the face of the earth. Millions of dollars, endorsement deals, blah, 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 championships. And he's messing around on social media to a point where he gets upset about Pat Beverly saying something about a LeBron decision. He's like, dude, just get off of social media. I thought we were beyond this, LeBron. And still holding up the league and everybody else. Now, here's the thing. We don't have to let him hold us up. I started the show with it today. I'm in a national show. It's been a while. I feel like that's like I was hoping something broke. last night or today till we can find out a decision, but no more. After this Open, that's it. No more LeBron talk. Just pick a team. No more waiting on this guy to decide. And I think it is embarrassing that the league would wait to make their schedule based on LeBron James. I understand it to a certain extent. I mean, figure it out. And if the list is really down to those three, you kind of have an idea. I thought initially it was going to be Cleveland or Golden State. I felt like those were the two options. Now, after the way Pat Riley has been speaking, and people could call him like senile, old, whatever. Riley said, still have another plane to land. Clearly, to me, that was about LeBron. The fact that Miami would still be a final destination, I would be stunned if he goes to Philly, especially when you're talking about two plays. Like, he could kind of go home. Why wouldn't you want to retire and go home? And then even reference the Jordan thing, like Jordan had an end too, and Jordan's end was not pretty with the Wizards. I still regret not going to see Jordan play, ever. I've never seen him play in person at the Garden. The tickets were expensive. I was too young to really in his prime. And then when he came back after going away, the tickets were up there. I was still young teen. I don't even think I was working at that point. Might have been working at one of the local supermarkets or even Home Depot, but certainly didn't have enough to go see Jordan. And then with the Wizards, I was like, it's just not the same. So the Knicks play the Bulls, of course, the year without Jordan. Anyway, point is, Jordan's goodbye. I think LeBron wants his to be a little bit better than Jordan's. And he could go home to either Cleveland, like his actual home where he's from, and he delivered them a championship, or Miami, where he became a champion. So either of those two spots, to me, make more sense than going to Philadelphia would. I think Philly would get the most, wow factor. Wow, LeBron's going to Philly. Could they actually get out of the second round? Could the 76ers get to a conference final with 41-year-old LeBron James? Or I guess he'll be 42 in December. So, he's just not the same player that he was. I don't think this is a big deal. We understand the name. I understand the draw, the appeal. To me, it's not going to swing the pendulum in the East. Miami is better with Giannis. They may be marginally better with LeBron. They're not better than the Knicks. I'm not even sure they're better than the Celtics. Sixers, yeah, like we said. You just can't rely on Joel Embiid. Same thing, go to the Cavs. Okay, would the Cavs be better with LeBron? Sure. Maybe they get a game from the Knicks. Remember, they got swept. There's a gap to be closed in the Eastern Conference, and LeBron wants to come back to the East. And he wanted to join the Knicks. He was throwing out. See, I think that maybe is the holdup here. Is LeBron waiting for a call from Jalen Brunson? I think he really wants. Maybe LeBron knows he can't beat the Knicks, which is why he's trying to join him. Jalen, come on, call me before you go on vacation. Might be too late. Jalen was everywhere else, but calling LeBron. And now LeBron's got to make the difficult decision of which team am I going to join that's got to try to close the gap on the Knicks, because there was a significant gap in the East. Sixers swept, Cavs swept, and even the big bad Wemby-led Spurs. Gentlemen sweep in 5. We'll give you a game. So good luck to LeBron in any of your final 3 destinations, wherever you end up. Good luck chasing the world champion New York Knicks and Jalen Brunson. A spot that you, my friend, could have occupied, but you were too scared to take on the challenge. Good luck in Cleveland, Miami, or Philadelphia. You bet, presented by BetMGM, SalLicata on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
SalLicata in for Nick Kostos. This segment is sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. We'll have Herm Edwards coming up at 11 o'clock, so you got a little while for that. We'll talk some NFL with Herm as we start to get warm and fuzzy and think about the NFL season and training camp. For me, it was always Hard Knocks. I loved the idea of Hard Knocks setting the tone. Not always, but you're going back now 20-something years since it's been on, like setting the tone and getting me ready for football season. And there is nothing better than football season, whether it's college football, whether it is NFL season, nothing better. Now, I want to enjoy the summer. Don't get me wrong. Don't rush me wrong. I still got some pool time to enjoy here, July and August. I don't want to start thinking about the fall and all the fun and the football and the food and all that stuff, but it is coming. It is coming quickly. And I will say a couple things on that not only am I like, look, the fantasy stuff, the picks. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite shows, I can't wait for it, to listen to Kostos, where he does his 1 hour Sunday morning show, You Better You Bet. I love that show. Every Sunday morning as I get ready for the full slate of games, I'm going to be more into college football this year as well. And I love the idea. I was reading something yesterday about Bill Belichick, where people are going to be down on Belichick. And for whatever reason, they have been on Belichick. Like, I don't get it. I've always been of the Belichick-Brady stuff. More on Brady coming up a little bit later as well. But of the Brady-Belichick, and I know Brady went on to win a Super Bowl with the Bucs without Bill. And then the Patriots were bad, and now North Carolina's been awful. But I really don't believe that Brady is as successful as he was without Bill Belichick. Remember, he could take everything that Belichick taught him all those years in New England and then take that to Tampa Bay and help them get over the hump. So anyway, the battle between Brady and Belichick was always, to me, ridiculous. And if I had to pick, I would have, as much as I respect Tom Brady, or used to respect Tom Brady, I would have sided with Belichick. Anyway, Belichick, last year I remember getting into it thinking North Carolina, Belichick's going to turn them around. And he clearly didn't in year one. It was a terrible disaster. But I read somewhere that Belichick says it's totally different in year two. And you know what? That's enough for me to believe in the greatness of Bill Belichick. I still believe, I know that the world has changed. Sports, it's evolved. The players are softer nowadays, and you can't coach them the way that Bill used to be coaching players, and with the NIL and all the stuff, especially at the collegiate level. Look, it's still football. And I still believe that there is no better mind, especially when we're talking about X's and O's, than there is Bill Belichick. And when you think about his second year, getting his feet wet a little bit with North Carolina, again, I'd be lying to you if I said about the players or whatever. I just think they're going to be far better. I know they're not going to be the major story this college football season. Let's see what Arch Manning does and all that stuff. And, where we're going to, like, for me, I look at it more of a perspective of, I enjoy the games. I'm not a fan of any team in particular. I'll root for North Carolina because of Belichick. That's how much I respect him, and I want to see him bounce back. But I'll look at it more and try to see which players, going to be top draft picks next year, all those different things, and just enjoying the game. I just love the college football game. It's just a fun watch, and different than it is with a football Sunday with the NFL, although the NFL is king. We know that. Anyway, point is, I believe North Carolina, led by Bill Belichick, remember, to all the rumors in the offseason, they're going to move on from Belichick. It's been less about his girlfriend this offseason, right? Last year was like all the talk. It felt like all summer long. The pictures of those two together leading up to North Carolina, the reality show that was supposed to take place that never happened. I feel like this year, maybe there's been more of a focus on football. And again, I don't know. This is just from an outside perspective. I would bet that Bill is going to be back on top and get his team playing competitive, sound football. And you would think, at least I would think, that a coach like that at the collegiate level with the X's and O's being such in his... the guy's the greatest. He is the smartest coach, period, right now. You give me Sean McVay, give me whoever you want. Give me Nick Sirianni, that doofus. Give me anybody you want. I'm taking Bill Belichick all day, every day, as far as the X's and O's goes. No question about it. And I know the knocks, and I know what's gone on, toward the end. But I would bet, and I'm going to bet, and I don't know what the exact odds are. Maybe we could look this up or whatever it may be. But I would bet on North Carolina having a successful year in year two from Bill Belichick. While we're on the topic of Belichick, let me just transition here to Tom Brady, and we'll get into Major League Baseball trade deadline stuff. We can maybe do that next segment. I don't know. We have all day. We'll talk to Brian Geltzeiler coming up at 10:20, talk more NBA free agency, the landscape of some of the decisions that have already been made, and like we said, Herm Edwards coming up at 11 o'clock. As for Brady, what's he doing? Tom, come back to us. What are you doing? First, it's the broadcasting thing. Actually, it's not even first. Like, Brady looks like a wax figure, a statue. I'm not sure what he's doing, but like the face, the teeth, the body. And I respect being healthy. Like, God bless. You want to live forever? You want to eat your avocado ice cream? Whatever it may be, fine. Okay. But he just, and I'm a huge Tom Brady fan. He just looks, I met him once in an elevator many, many years ago. Matter of fact, it might have been when I was working with Kostos back at NFL Radio many years ago. I forget if Nick was there at that time, but this was like 2004, let's say. And I was wearing my Falcons jersey, and in comes Tom Brady before he was really Tom Brady. It was 2002. But Brady, nice guy. Anyway, I've followed his career, and I've respected Tom Brady, but I just feel like we're getting away from it a little bit. Why is Tom Brady all up in the videos? That's a Suge Knight reference. All up in the commercials. All right, he wants to get paid by Fox. Sure, he wasn't great broadcaster the first year. A little bit better in the second year, and I really don't even care about that. Like, I'll watch the games regardless. I just look at him now, where you can't. I mean, he's all in these commercials. He's at Fanatics Fest left and right. Now he's getting involved in a WWE storyline, which, like, okay, other athletes have done that before, so Tom Brady's going to get in the ring and wrestle. Would I pay to see it? You better believe it. You bet to believe it. I would pay to see it. So I understand the appeal, the draw, but like, if it were just Brady going from player to booth to the ring, I think I'd be okay with that. Brady, he's like taking on too much out there with the nightlife, and I don't know, it just looks weird. It looks like a guy who, then the divorce wasn't good with Giselle, whatever. I mean, it happens everywhere. It just looks like a guy trying to find himself, who is in fact lost after the thing that he loved doing most in this world, being a quarterback and playing football, can no longer happen because of his age. I don't know, man. It does kind of tarnish the legacy for me a little bit. Now, to each their own. He's allowed to do whatever he wants to do. He certainly doesn't care what I think. I'm just telling you what I think. To me, it will never take away from his greatness on the field, but how could you not? Same thing with Belichick and his girlfriend. When that stuff was at the forefront, and thankfully it's cooled off a little bit, I think the talk was like, Bill, what are you doing? You were the greatest head coach ever, arguably. And now you're being known for this young, cheerleader or whatever she like that's what you're being talked about, and that's what you're being known for now, is who you're dating. Same thing, and maybe that could go away this year and he has some success and it gets back to being about Bill Belichick. Same thing with Brady. It's like, this is what you're going to be known for, flipping off Logan Paul and creating a wrestling storyline on top of all the stuff at Fanatics Fest every year, on top of all the other goofy stuff, the stuff that he's tried to sell and the TB12 method. And I don't know, man. It just feels weird. Where I used to look at Brady, a no-nonsense guy, respect him to the highest levels. I mean, look, the reality is athletes they're people. We look at them as being, athletes, and that's it. Sunday gridiron warriors, and maybe none better ever than Tom Brady. Certainly the greatest winning quarterback we've ever seen. I mean, I would say that Aaron Rodgers at his peak, and some would say even Mahomes now, I would say that Aaron Rodgers at his peak was more physically gifted than Tom Brady. The ability to just flick the ball down the field, obviously his quickness, his elusiveness, all of that stuff. Aaron Rodgers is so good that the knock on him is that he's only won one Super Bowl. Think about that. For all the other quarterbacks, like, oh, can they win a Super Bowl? Can they win a Super Bowl? The knock on Rodgers, he's great, but he's only won one. Like, that's a pretty good thing to say. It's not just his fault. Anyway, I would say more physically. I've always said this. Peyton Manning was the best pure player of the position, like the best pure quarterback, making the reads, putting the ball where it needs to be. Tom Brady, the most competitive, winning quarterback that I've ever seen. And then Rodgers, the most physically gifted quarterback, and kind of combining, he could obviously throw it and he was competitive as the rest of them. And by the way, Rodgers making some news. All is good now with him and his family, I guess. What is it? The summer of, what do they call it? The summer of relationship building. I forget what the post was exactly with Rodgers. Tyler, help me out here. Do you know what the hell I'm talking about? He's reconciling with his family. Let me see if I can pull it up. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, here we go. Another bonding week. Summer of bonding. That's what another bonding week, and he went to his Instagram posting pictures of him and his family. Good. Because as a huge Aaron Rodgers fan, honestly, it made me sad to read his book. Well, listen to the book. Remember the book that came out a couple years ago by Ian O'Connor? Excellent book. What the hell was the name of that book? I must have given away my copy. Anyway, I had it. Point is, I love Aaron Rodgers. And I was hoping for better things for him, whether it be with the Packers before he went on with the Jets and now even with the Steelers. I don't think he's particularly good at this point anymore. Or I shouldn't say that. He's good. He's not great the way that he once was. Out of the Darkness. Yes. Thank you, Tyler. That was the book. Great book. I loved listening to it. Matter of fact, I need to get some books here. It's the summertime. Once my schedule slows down a little bit, I got to take a couple weeks off like Kostos is doing. And then read or listen to some books. I love it. Nothing like a good book in the summer. Anyway, I love that book with Rodgers. And it was disappointing to hear what happened with his family for a variety of reasons. Well, now they're back. Now they're back together bonding on the bonding experience. Anyway, where the hell was I? Oh, yeah, Brady. So good for Rodgers. I don't know, man. I don't have a problem with Brady getting in the ring or starting the wrestling match thing. I think some people look down on that. I do not. I'm a fan, or I have been a big fan of wrestling for, like since the 80s. I loved it. Now I'll go in and out of it. I just talked to Brie Bella backstage for my podcast. Saturday night's main event was at the Garden. Talked to Danhausen. It's always fun talking to those guys. I have a great relationship with WWE. Love them. SummerSlam is going to be exciting. Like, I look forward to all that. And if Brady's going to be involved in WrestleMania against Logan Paul, and that seems to be the thing, I would be into that from an entertainment standpoint. But from a Brady legacy, all the nonsense that he's been getting involved in, not this, I'm talking about all the other stuff. I don't know, man. I just find it weird. One of the great competitors the sport has ever seen, the greatest winning quarterback the sport has ever seen. After that, it's been weird from Tom Brady. More NFL talk as we roll along here. You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM. SalLicata in for Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
SalLicata in for Nick Kostos. You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports. Today, BetMGM players will receive an Any Sport Parlay Boost token. To use the Parlay Boost token, add a parlay wager to your bet slip and activate the token. If you win your wager that was made with the token, you will receive extra winnings. Download the BetMGM app today. Please gamble responsibly. I was just scrolling. I have a couple of things here. I was just scrolling through social media during the break. I mean, what else am I supposed to do? Go talk to my wife? I don't think so. There's a nice little break from her, if you know what I'm saying. And I saw, I was just talking about books last segment, how I need to get into a good book after reading Aaron Rodgers, the Out of the Darkness, a couple of summers ago, whenever that came out. Actually, I think last year, too, I read I keep saying read, but really I listened to these books. I listened to the Michael Richards book, Kramer from Seinfeld. It was excellent. Excellent book. I just saw, and I wonder if this popped up because like my phone microphone recorded me and hearing me talk about books. Sylvester Stallone has a book that's available for pre-order about his life and I guess making the Rocky movie. And then we saw the Rocky trailer. I Play Rocky, the trailer, whenever that comes out. I guess that's coming out in December, I think, this year. That's as must-watch as could possibly be. Anyway, whenever this book comes out, I actually have a list of books that I want to get. But whenever that book comes out, 100% in on that. And then I saw Andrew Dice Clay, my guy Dice, posting about it, talking about how he was inspired by who isn't inspired by Sylvester Stallone and the Rocky book. I have I'm in the middle of reading Mike Vaccaro's book, so I got to finish that about George Steinbrenner and the empire that he built with taking over the Yankees. Very good book. Portnoy's book is out. I want to read that. Roger McDowell. I mean, if you're an 86 Mets fan like myself, 40 years old, Roger McDowell, a character of that book. And then how about Gorilla Monsoon has a book out. I love the wrestling books. I love wrestling books more than I love wrestling, as a matter of fact. So those are the books that I got to get. Hey, I'm behind here. It's already almost end of July. Haven't even gotten any of those books yet. But I usually download them audibly, listen to it, because you can listen to it by the pool. You just throw it on the speakers, listen to it on the commute. Or I can't read in the pool. You know what I'm saying? You don't want the pages to get... I guess I could if I were laying on a float. Anyway, did you guys see last night? Tyler, help me out here. Did you see last night the fans in Philadelphia fighting over the home run ball that was caught with it was a home run ball, right? Not a foul ball, a home run ball, I believe. Right, that was caught with a hat. So one Phillies fan caught a home run ball with a hat, but it was kind of like thrown up in the air. And then another Philly fan who was wearing an Eagles jersey, I think, came down with the ball and the hat. But then the one fan whose hat it was claiming ownership of the ball because it was his hat that in fact caught it. So who like, we need to replay this and go over a rule book here. Who then has rightful possession? We'll start with you, Tyler. I'll get your take and then Kenny's take before I give my take. Where are you at with who owns possession of that home run ball after the way that it was caught?
Yeah, so the guy with the Phillies hat, he caught the ball in the hat, and the hat just dropped, and the guy in the Eagles jersey caught it. To be honest, to me, that's like a fumble in NFL. Like, the guy had possession, he dropped it, ball's loose. At this point, whoever gets the ball last, that's their ball. And then, honestly, it's just a whole separate conversation. Maybe the guy was giving the ball to his kids or something, but then the guy in the Phillies hat went up to the Eagles guy wearing the jersey and started yelling at him. Unless he was giving the ball to a kid, I don't think grown men should be going over this crazy over a home run ball. That guy was getting a little after it too much. So I think, to be honest, the guy in the Phillies hat dropped the ball. Ball's loose. Whoever gets it next, I think the ball should have gone to the guy in the Eagles jersey.
Interesting ruling there from Tyler. Hard to dispute that. Now, I will say before we get to Kenny, there's a whole nother level to this. I do not like when fans tell other fans what to do. Period. End of story. For example, if I catch a foul ball or a home run ball, and I am an adult, a 46-year-old adult, and I am at the game with, let's say, my friends or whoever it may be, and then people are going to be bullying me or peer pressuring me into giving that ball to a kid, I ain't about that. You don't need to tell me what to do. If I feel like in that spot, I want to give it to a kid for whatever reason, I could. If I feel like I want to take it home with me, maybe to give it to my nephew or my daughter, then I could do that. Or somebody that I know. Like, since when do we get to, as a society, because of social media, that's why, that we need to bully people and tell them what to do with the ball that they catch at a game. Like, I have people at home, oh, give it to a kid, give it to a kid. Yeah, maybe I am going to give it to a kid. What about my unborn child or my 5-year-old daughter? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying unborn child because prior to 5 years ago, I didn't have a child. And I would think the same thing. Like, maybe I want this ball one day to give to my kids who aren't here. Just like my grandfather gave me a foul ball that he caught many moons ago. And I still have it, one of my prized possessions after he's long gone. So, like, these people, just because they have it doesn't mean that they're going to hoard it to themselves and not give it to their kids or create a memory. Like, stop bullying other people what to do with it. Now, in this particular case, I wasn't even letting that factor into the question. It was more about who was in possession of the ball. We know where you stand, Tyler. Kenny, where are you on this? Hat possesses the ball versus the guy in the scrum who comes up with it. Where do you stand on this side of things?
I totally agree with Tyler on this one, that the Eagles guy ends up with possession. It's his ball. I will say to the Phillies guy, if you're not going to catch it with your hands, I know people get made fun of for this, but bring a glove to the baseball game. And if you can't catch it with your hands, bring a glove, and he would have caught the ball. And then there would have been no scuffle. So I think that would be the best solution guy.
Who did in fact end up with it? Did the guy who was complaining, the Philly fan that was complaining, end up with it? The one with the hat?
Yes.
Yelled at you?
Yes, he got the ball. Yep, yelled at the fan and took the ball and then ran away.
And he's going to be vilified now on social media. That's how these things work.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, like, I say that you can't bully me into making a decision. I'd have no choice but to give it up. Plus, I'm somewhat like recognizable in New York where I'm on SNY TV. If I were at a Met game, I'd have to give the ball up now. What kind of position is that? That stinks. I've never caught a foul ball in my life. If a foul ball came my way and I got it, I'd love to have that and take that home with me and give it to my daughter. But I'd feel like, look who got LaCata. Is that LaCata? You better be giving that ball away. You better be giving that to a kid. I'd have to give it away. I can't even get it. I missed my opportunity. In life, I've never gotten a foul ball. Home run derby ball I did get. And I only knocked over 3 kids to get it. And that's with me right now. It's behind me right there. You can see it if you're watching on YouTube. Bryce Harper hit it, 2013 Citi Field home run derby. I didn't really knock over kids. I went under the seat, grabbed it, and came up with it. And then the guy in front of me was like, oh, that was mine. I'm like, well, if it's yours, how come I got it? Oh, give it to the kid. I ain't giving it to no kid. This is mine. Give it to my kid. Thank you. I've waited my whole life for this. So ruling on this is a little tricky because I do understand the thought process of trying to catch the ball with a hat. You can't catch a bat with a pot. What the hell is the name of that movie? I'm drawing a blank here. Black Sheep. Chris Farley. Look it up if you haven't. You can't catch a bat with a pot. Tommy Boy was the original, then Black Sheep, Spade and Farley getting together, trying to catch a bat in their cabin, like an actual bat, scary bat, not a baseball bat. You can't catch a bat with a pot. Idiot. Moron. Anyway, you can catch a ball with a hat, but you do need to remain in possession of it. My bigger issue than whose ball is it or not, who's in possession of it or not, is the guy going like it was sour grapes after he missed out on it. Like if I'm the dude in the Eagles jersey that got the ball on the rebound or in the scrum after the fumble, as you say, Tyler, I'd give the guy back his hat and be like, oh, ball's mine, bro, but you lost it. Like that's it, period, end of story. And the other guy's so mad that he lost it, he goes up and starts barking at the other guy, yelling at him, thinking that he's in some kind of control. He's not. Whoever has the ball in hand is in possession of it. That is my ruling. It could be somebody's hat. You can't just throw at, like if you were to throw on the field, throw a glove up and catch a ball by some miracle, you throw it up, it catches the ball, and it lands wherever. It's not yours. It's not like, unless you're Inspector Gadget and have that thing attached to your hand still, it's not yours. If the hat were attached to his hand, it would be his. Once the hat is detached from his body part and it's fair game, and it wasn't like it was ripped from him, once the hat is detached from the body part, then I believe it is fair game. So I am with both of you, Tyler and Kenny, that I do think, in fact, possession would belong to the guy who ended up giving it up because he felt like he was bullied into it, which is just not right. But in the end, here's what's going to happen if it hasn't already, and maybe you guys can further the conversation. I saw it last night. I made a note of it. I was like, okay, I got to talk about that tomorrow. Here's what's going to happen. The guy who ended up giving up the ball So the bully with the hat sounds like a kid's book or something. The bully with the hat. The guy who ended up giving the ball back will probably be made some kind of hero by Philadelphia and their fans, and then the Phillies players will do something nice for him and his family or something like that, I would think. That's usually what happens with this stuff, right? On social media. That's the good part of social media. Who wants to get rid of social media? I don't know. But that's the good part of social media. Where you'd you could find that person and vilify that person, and who knows what could happen as far as their employment situation goes. But anyway, you will now have, I'm sure the Philly broadcast will go over to that guy and give him a bat and a ball and all this stuff, especially if it was a kid. Maybe adult to adult. Do they do the same thing with adult to adult crime, Tyler? Like in that spot, because it was two adults, one wearing a Eagles jersey, one wearing, I think it was a Phillies jersey and his hat. Like, do they do that if it were an adult, or only if the adult steals the ball from the kid, then the kid gets rewarded? But if an adult steals the ball from another adult, do we just ignore that? Where are we at with that in today's society?
No, I think they absolutely ignored it. I think the middle-aged sports fan male is just like, no one cares. Like, dude, just catch the ball and move on here. I don't think anything's happening.
That ain't right, brother. That ain't right. I'm telling you. And you know what? The person to blame is the guy in the Eagles jersey. He should have stood his ground. Why are you getting bullied by the other guy? I mean, maybe you're just thinking it's not worth the fight. You don't want to deal with the confrontation. There doesn't need to be any confrontation. You just let him know, no, this is mine. We're good. Here's your hat. I'm good. Oh, but that was my ball. I caught it with that. It's not your ball. If it were yours, you'd have it. How come I have it? And that's it. You just got to be confident and stand your ground. And that would have been it. End of story. No, Tyler, I am not sports radio Zach Campbell. I don't go seeking these balls out. By the way, what you get on me? I'm 46 years old. I can't have the joy of catching a foul ball. I got to give it up because I'm an older, middle-aged dude. Like, no, I'm sorry. What about my kid? What about my daughter? She's not going to get one on her own. Daddy'd have to give it to her. I'm not Zach Campbell out here chasing things down. Even at that home run derby. I didn't ask Bryce to hit it to me. He hit it to me. I reached down onto the seat, came back up in victory, holding up that ball. It's a nice ball, and I have that memory forever. Now, I was supposed to have that robbed from me because I was going to give it to a kid? Imagine how much worse that story is. Oh, yeah, I was at the home run derby at Citi Field in 2013, and Bryce Harper hit one that came my way. I reached down under the seat and came up with it in the scrum. I was quick enough, cat-like reflexes, to grab it and come up with it from the scrum, only to have some older man bully me into giving it to his son. And I no longer have possession of the ball. Hell no! That ball's coming back with me, and it will be in my possession, or my daughter's possession when I in fact die. All right, we'll get into some NFL next hour. Also, remember what's coming up at 11 o'clock. MLB trade line discussion, too, when we come back. And then we'll have Brian Geltzow coming up at 10:20 as well. This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports. SalLicata in for Nick Kostos.
idea what's going on, but I am excited.
Every pick, every play, every game-changing moment. Unbelievable! This is You Better You Bet, brought to you by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
SalLicata in for Nick Kostos here on You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports. We started the show talking about LeBron. Like, what's the holdup, dude? Make a freaking decision already. What's the wait? You don't know where you want to go? Come on, you didn't give this any thought prior? It's taken 3 weeks, not 4, not 5, not 6. Come on, how many weeks are going to take, LeBron? More weeks than you have championships? I mean, what is happening here? Anyway, we started the show talking about LeBron. At the start of the 9 o'clock hour. We'll have Brian Geltzauer coming up in about 20 minutes or so. We'll get more into LeBron and the NBA free agency and how things look. For me, it will impact the Eastern Conference, no question about it. I still don't think LeBron, if he goes to one of those final 3 teams that he mentioned or that Shams mentioned, Cleveland, Miami, Philadelphia, I still don't think that would put them over the top as far as being better than the Knicks in the Eastern Conference. Long way to go before that happens. Let's get into some baseball here. Can we do that? National show, like, is that allowed to do some baseball stuff? It is trade deadline season. I was told once, and the reason why I joke about that, it's kind of an inside joke that you wouldn't get, but I was told once, just don't do baseball when you're doing national shows. I used to do national shows, and I did overnights, as a matter of fact, on Saturday and Sunday morning. Anyway, point is, I'm no stranger to doing national shows, and I also know that right now it's trade season, and I have an idea for the New York Yankees. And this is an idea, it's not just specific to the Yankees. In this case, it does pertain to the Yankees, but it's about any team that is looking to close the gap on the big bad Dodgers. And if I were to look at the teams in Major League Baseball, who I think have the best chance to, in fact, beat the Dodgers, the Yankees would be one of the teams in the conversation, in part because the American League is not very strong. Okay, and then you look at, this is a whole nother topic, but we can do it here. We have some time. You look at the way that the landscape of Major League Baseball is nowadays with the extra wild card and having all these teams like, is Skubal going to be on the move? I don't know. He was 2 weeks ago, but then the Tigers are good. Are the Red Sox going to trade Chapman? I don't know. They were a month ago, but now they've won 14 straight games, and they're chasing down the Yankees and the Rays in the East instead of trading Chapman potentially to the Yankees. So these conversations, they change, if not daily, certainly weekly or whatever it may be, as far as who's going to be available. And right now, it doesn't look like there are many appealing options that are going to be out there to upgrade your team if you're trying to get to, like, could you marginally upgrade? Could you add a catcher if you're the Yankees? Probably. I'd hope so. They need one. Could you add relievers if you're a team in need of relievers? Yeah, that's probably the easiest thing to add in season because so many of these relievers that are having good years on teams that aren't going anywhere, they can be had. Especially you look at the New York Mets, who happen to have a bunch of relievers. Team stinks, but they have a bunch of relievers. I know Francisco Lindor's name has come up on a national broadcast as far as being available, and that's a thing. And by the way, A, he should be available. B, he should be desirable. People will look at the contract and be like, oh, I don't want that. Well, do you want good players or not? You want to upgrade your team or not? The Yankees aren't interested in Lindor. Okay, I guess they like Caballero and Volpe at short. Good luck beating the Dodgers with that combination. Anyway, here's what I think the Yankees need to do. They need to be willing, because there are 2 ways. I just keep extending the conversation. There are 2 ways to upgrade your team. 1, add payroll, whether it be in free agency or taking on money in season. 2, trade prospects. And I think for the Yankees to close the gap on the Dodgers, if you didn't see it, the Dodgers took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees this weekend. Not that that is the barometer, but you could just tell by watching the games that the Dodgers are at a different level. They're really at a different level from everybody else. But I'm thinking from a Yankee perspective that even though the Rays have been very good in the American League and they lead the American League East, the Red Sox are red hot right now. You know, a lot could happen. The Tigers, the Mariners, whatever. Okay. Texas, like whatever. I still think the Yankees have the best chance. Remember, the Yankees are depleted right now. They're missing Judge, Stanton, and Max Fried, not to mention the additions that they could make. So let's say that they get those guys back. And they were in the World Series a couple years ago. Yes, it was with Soto, but still. The Yankees are the one constant. Blue Jays come and go. Rays come and go. Red Sox come and go. Other teams come and go. The Yankees remain the 90-plus win team that is always in the playoffs. Okay, get to it, Sal. Get to it. I'm getting to it. The Yankees need to do both. They need to. Here's what I would do if I were Cashman. Finally put the foot on the pedal and go all in. Assuming that Skubal is available. Now, that is a big assumption, but let's just hypothetically, for the sake of conversation and sports talk, like that's what we do. This is a sports talk show. We talk about sports. Let's have a conversation. Like me and Kostos hanging out at the bar. All right, here's what I would do. We wouldn't have a conversation and have it halted immediately. Yeah, but the Tigers aren't going to trade him and that's it. Okay, let's talk about something else. Like we would have the conversation that he might be available. If he were available, the Yankees need to go aggressively to get him. Now, what the Tigers would want would be a bunch of prospects, and the Yankees could part with that. Now, is that going to be George Lombard Jr., whatever? I don't need to bore you with the prospect names that you may not know. Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez, they come up. Their value is nowhere near what it used to be, but those guys have come up. Let's just say that it takes a boatload of prospects from the Yankees to be able to get Tarek Skubal. You would think then, okay, well, is that going to be it now? How are they going to get Mason Miller, which is the second piece to this puzzle that I want? How are they going to get Mason Miller after they just traded everybody to Tarek Skubal? Well, what's the other way that I said you could acquire players? Taking on money. Now, Mason Miller is dirt cheap. You're getting him for free. It's actually shocked that he's even available. A player of his caliber, by far the best closer in baseball, unhittable, untouchable. He's available with years of control. I think we went over it before, Tyler. What did I say? 3 years after beyond this year of control, where he's arbitration eligible. 3 years of control beyond this year. So you'd be getting him for 3.5 years. That is going to take a haul to be able to get him. Assuming, and it sounds like there were multiple reports, I think Bob Nightingale had it, that the Padres will be looking to move Mason Miller. The Padres also have a bad contract in Xander Bogaerts, who has 7 years left at $25 million a year. I'm pretty sure that is the right math. Left on his contract. He's been a terribly disappointing shortstop after signing the big money deal. They would do probably anything to get out from under that contract. So why not then take him on? Ooh, did you guys see that? I think we're having thunder and lightning in my neighborhood here. Just saw a flash on the screen here. Hopefully we don't lose connection. That would be awkward. Anyway, the way to do it is to not give up prospects. You'd have to give up some, but take on a bad contract. If the Yankees went to A.J. Preller and the Padres and said, we are looking to get Mason Miller and we want to take the bad contract of Xander Bogaerts off your hands, the Padres would be more than willing to listen, because they have two ways to move on from Mason Miller. Either get yourselves out from under a bad contract. You could attach a bad contract to Mason Miller. Here you go. Or you send Mason Miller somewhere and you get an absolute freaking haul in the prospect department. There are multiple ways to do it. But if I'm the Yankees, I'm trying to go win a World Series. I'm taking my prospects and getting Tarek Skubal. And now you have a rotation, and whoever those prospects may be, whatever the Tigers want, that's going to be the cost of doing business. You're getting Skubal as a rental. You already know that going in. Jones, Dominguez, LeGrand, Lombard, whatever combination of those guys. You trade to get Skubal. Now you have a rotation with Skubal, Garrett Cole, Cam Schlittler, and Max Fried when he comes back. Forget about even Carlos Rodano. If you needed to, you move him to the bullpen, whatever it may be. That is a loaded rotation that can look the Dodgers in the eye. Skubal can go toe-to-toe with Yamamoto. Cole, Schlittler. Those guys can take on Glasnow, Snell, whatever. Ohtani, if he decides he wants to pitch by then. We'll get to that in a little bit. Let me make a note of that. Ohtani isn't really a two-way player. Because to be a two-way player, you actually have to play both ways. Imagine if there was somebody who could pitch and hit at the same time. I'm still imagining. I haven't seen it. He just doesn't do it. Anyway, maybe we'll get to that later. But that would load up your rotation if you trade for Tarek Skubal. And then you go to the Padres and say, we want Mason Miller, and I'm willing to take on the Xander Bogaerts contract. Whether it's all of it, whether it's a large portion of it, maybe the Padres they'll pay down the last year, so then you only get him at 6 years for $25 million per year. Now you not only get Mason Miller, who's the best closer, which pushes everybody back in that bullpen, which makes the Yankees have a lights-out bullpen. They need at least another arm. But you'd certainly live with Mason Miller and David Bednar as your 8-9 guys, and then figure out whoever you trust to get through the rest of the game, assuming that you need them with that loaded rotation. But now you have just added, in this hypothetical, which is realistic, you have the least realistic thing of the whole. I'm not saying the Yankees would do it, but the least realistic part of this is that the Tigers make Skubal available. Because if I'm the Tigers at this point, they already screwed up. Excuse me. They should have traded Skubal in the offseason ahead of the season because they would have maximized his value. Now they're kind of caught in no man's land. They might be good enough to make a run. They might not. His value is not going to be the same as it was before the year because it would have been a full season of Tarek Skubal. And that team that acquired him could have tried to convince him that it's good here. Let's say the Yankees in this case. Same thing that they did with Juan Soto a couple years ago. And that resulted in a World Series appearance. They could have done the same thing with Tarek Skubal. Anyway, the least realistic part of this is that the Tigers would make Skubal available. If they do, it is realistic to think that the Yankees could do what I'm saying. Go trade prospects for Skubal. That's one. Then go tell the Padres you'll take on a bad contract in Bogarts to bring in Mason Miller. That's two. That can happen. Will it happen? No. Do you know why it won't happen? Because the Yankees wouldn't ever go all in as far as either prospects or finances. And that is why we sit here today where they are not on the level with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And no one is. But now I just gave you the Yankee perspective, and the reason why I would do it with the Yankees is because they're closer to being able to beat the Dodgers. But this could pertain to any team, really. Sadly, the one team that would do it is the Dodgers. I bet you the Dodgers would trade prospects for Skubal and would take on Bogart's contract to bring in Mason Miller. Padres aren't going to trade him there, though. Nor should they. You can't trade him to the Dodgers. Like, it's bad enough to trade him. You can't trade him within the division of the Dodgers. And look at the Padres. Like, they want Mason Miller. They want Tarek Skubal. They're already loaded. How do you even find a roster spot for these guys? But that's the way the trade deadline should be working, especially now where you have fewer guys available. It used to be more than half the league was out of it, and they'd be looking to part with a bunch of their players. And now you don't have that. I mean, whether you want to say it's good or not for the sport, okay, good to have more cities involved, but it's bad for the trade deadline action because there aren't as many teams in it who are willing to give up those players. They ran, why am I going to trade this guy now? I'd rather just keep him, extend him the qualifying offer, get a draft pick back, and we could try to make a run at the postseason. That's the thought process. So the trade deadline, which is coming up in less than 2 weeks, Monday, August 3rd, 6 p.m., that is a lot less exciting than it used to be. But you can be in the business if you're a team, and there are only a handful of teams that would be willing to take on bad contracts. You can get a good player, a young player under team control for taking on a bad contract and then have to lessen the prospect haul. So if I'm the Yankees, I want to close the gap on the Dodgers, and that should be the primary goal, to win a World Series, not to try to be practical and logical and win these deals and think about it from a standpoint of, well, what about in 2 years from now or 3 years from now? Think about it short term for once, and decide to go all in. And you could do it multiple ways. Give up some of the prospects and bring in Tarek Skubal and load up your rotation. Imagine a Yankee team with that rotation that I just mentioned, getting Judge and Stanton back and trading for Mason Miller and even bringing in Bogarts. I've given you an ace, as good as you could get, atop your rotation, your already loaded rotation, but you've just made that better. You've gotten the best, in this scenario, the Yankees are adding the best pitcher in baseball and the best closer in baseball, and Tarek Skubal and Mason Miller. Oh, and by the way, even though it's a bad contract and he's underperforming, Bogarts is still an upgraded shortstop over Caballero and Volpe. You're welcome, Brian Cashman. You're welcome. I just solved your issues. Hal Steinbrenner needs to strongly consider going all in, and that is something that the Yankees need to do. That's all in, not halfway in it. It hasn't worked. Otherwise, who the hell is going to beat the Dodgers? Because you know what? Furthermore, if the Yankees don't go all in and make these moves, there is the chance the Dodgers do. Even if the Padres wouldn't directly trade Mason Miller to them, maybe the Padres trade Mason Miller somewhere else. Maybe he gets flipped eventually. And Tarek Skubal, he is fair game. If he's on the trading block and nobody else wants to go all in, guess what? The Dodgers will. When we come back, we'll get back to some NBA talk with Brian Geltzeiler. SalLicata filling in for Nick Kostos. You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM. SalLicata in for Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports. We started the show talking about LeBron as we await the decision, like the decision part two. What the hell's going on here already? July 21st. I mean, we're talking about 3 weeks later. Pick a team and move on. Right now, we welcome in Brian Geltzeiler. I haven't talked to Geltzy in a while, so it's a pleasure to have him on here. He is, of course, host of... He's not there? Oh, did you guys say that? He's not there right now? Oh, my bad. Were we live? Oh, I thought we were... Take two. Anyway, we await Geltzy, who's getting signed in right now. Just saw the panic. No, he's not there. No, go to him right there. Anyway, we're talking about LeBron before. Are we good to go? Just tell me in my ear there, Tyler, if we're good to go with Geltzy.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I could have stalled until he's all right. Thank you. Brian Geltzeiler. We haven't talked to you in a while, Geltzy. Hope all is well. Host of course, one of the hosts on Sirius XM NBA Radio. Dude, what is up with LeBron? What's taking so long? What's the holdup here?
Hey, let me ask you a question, Sal. If you were LeBron and you had everybody waiting on you, and you weren't sure what you want to do, or maybe you want one or two of these teams to make a preemptive move or give them your word that they're going to make a move, and you could play teams off each other, are you really worried about the time frame? Are you really worried about the other free agents you're holding up, whether it's Bradley Beal, Jonathan Kuminga, or Russell Westbrook, or DeMar DeRozan? Are you really worried about the league schedule release? You're LeBron James, you're 41 years old, and you still have this kind of gravity. And you know what? I know people are annoyed by this because we're into July 21st and there's no decision. And then really, I'm not sure there's a decision imminent at this point. But I'm not one of those people that's bothered by it. I'm kind of sitting back as an observer with a smile on my face and saying, you know what? When you do what LeBron James has done in this league and you're still in this kind of demand at the age of 41, it ain't bragging if you can do it, Sal.
My issue is less like, I don't care. You're right. He can do whatever he wants, right? It's his time frame. My issue is like, I don't understand the holdup. What is he? It's not that I need to know the announcement for me or like I'm tired of waiting on him. I'm curious as to somebody of his stature that has thought about this, I'm sure, for months, even including in season. What's the holdup? Like Rich Paul comes out and says, here's the board. What does LeBron not really know where he wants to play right now? Then why is he dwindling it down to 3 teams? Like, where are we at with his process? Less than me needing to know or us being tired of the waiting game, Geltzy. Why hasn't like does LeBron actually not know where he wants to go at this point?
Listen, I'm not sure he knows where he wants to go. He has a lot of different things that are pulling at him. Number one's his family. And keep in mind, his daughter, his youngest child, has known nothing but Los Angeles with him all this time. So I think that plays a little bit of a factor here. And that really puts the Warriors much more on the radar than maybe they would be otherwise from a basketball fit standpoint. Does he want the best basketball situation where he's going to have the largest role and ability to compete within that role? That would probably be Miami, where he'd be with Giannis and Bam Adebayo and could have the ball in his hands a lot. And that would be a great situation for him. Maybe it's the lure of being back close to Akron and going to Cleveland. I don't see a great basketball fit for him there. I don't know that sharing the ball with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell is going to make him any happier than sharing the ball with Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. But they continue to be prominent in this search, and he certainly hasn't dismissed them. And then there's the whole Philly thing, which, to me is very, very intriguing from a basketball standpoint. And then there's another aspect of this, Sal, which is money. So James Harden opted out of his deal, hasn't signed a new deal because maybe if he signs for a lesser amount or they figure out a wink deal going forward, they can pay LeBron a little more money. Then you have Draymond Green, who opted out of his deal, hasn't re-signed a new deal. That could have something to do with money. Does LeBron want to play for the league minimum? We don't have an answer to that question. And in a couple of these places, Philly and Miami, that's what it's going to require. So I do think there's a lot of moving parts here in terms of what he wants to do. And it's a big move for him. He was never in one place as long as he was in Los Angeles. And, having to be away from his family a bunch, he's got to reconcile himself with that. I don't pretend to know what's going on in his mind, but But I would think that if he definitely had a choice made, he's going to announce it, because actually there's going to come a time sooner rather than later, Sal, that he's going to get sick of all this. I don't think he's there yet, but I think we get a week to 10 days with where he hasn't announced a decision. He's going to come to a point where he's just going to say, you know what, screw it. This is what I'm doing.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, making a life decision like that, it's a pretty big thing. I just assume, you know why? I saw Rich Paul and that stupid whiteboard, and he said if the Knicks didn't win the championship, it would be no decision. He'd be going to New York. I don't understand how you come to that conclusion, which, by the way, is like anybody could say that. Yeah, well, hypothetically, if they didn't win, he was going here. I don't know how you could say that. But then, okay, what would be appealing about that? Big market, New York, the challenge of trying to get the team over the hump and win a championship. Is that what he's chasing? Is he chasing a big market? Is he trying to appease the family? Like, there are many different things here. I don't understand why his agent would come out and say it would have been New York. Is he waiting for Jalen Brunson to call him and maybe come play for the league minute? Like, I don't understand what is his thought process and how his agent can say publicly it would have been New York if they did not win the championship. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, so let's start there, Sal. All right. His agent has a podcast on Spotify, on the Ringer Podcast Network. Part of the value of, and I enjoy the podcast. I could, and the reason I enjoy the podcast is because generally Rich Paul is who he is and makes no bones about it. With all that said, he's been close with LeBron their entire lives. We know LeBron throws things out to the media just for his own amusement. To think Rich Paul doesn't do some of that on this podcast would be very naive. He's having a good time with the audience when it comes to something like that. And I think in this particular case, I don't know if he's telling the truth about LeBron and the Knicks, I do think, but to your point, for each team, there's a different thing that attracts LeBron. For the Knicks, it would have been the ability to be a part of, winning a championship, and the team hadn't done that in 53 years, or if they didn't win this year, it'd be 54 years. So you have that part with the Knicks. For Miami do I want to go, as good a basketball situation as it is, do I want to be 3,000 miles away from my family and go back under, the heat culture Riley Dome, which is what he would be doing, which means I don't get my run of the place. My guys can't come on the team playing, and Giannis's brothers aren't going to be there. It's all business. Do I want to be back to all business? Then it's Cleveland. Listen, I know for a fact that not only does ownership, management, the coaching staff love LeBron, but those players love LeBron. When LeBron's back in that area, he goes out of his way to go from Akron to the practice facility at Cleveland to work out there, and anytime he's there, they love having him. So there's a sentimental allure with being back in Cleveland that I think pulls at him a little bit. And then the Philadelphia situation, which I don't think is as realistic, because in the end, we've seen hanging your hat on Joel Embiid and how that can go bad. With all that said, I think they could actually be very good with LeBron and without Joel Embiid, with him not on the floor. But I think the role there for LeBron, having to play a lot of 4 and even some 5 in that situation, basketball-wise, isn't that appealing to him. One interesting thing that we did take from LeBron's time at Fanatics Fest and a lot of the public comments, which were really fluff more than anything else, but he did float the idea more than one time that this isn't his last year, that he's looking to play another year. So I think when you look at that standpoint, from that standpoint, what position-wise, what helps him play another year? Certainly not playing a lot of 4 and 5, being more of a perimeter guy, and that to me would definitely dismiss Philly. I'm not taking Minnesota and Denver all that seriously right now. Sal is candidates for him to go there.
We're talking with Brian Geltailer, host on Sirius XM NBA Radio. You mentioned the Warriors. I thought I saw a report, I could be wrong, maybe you could correct this, that he had it down to 3. Now, again, who the hell knows where this is even coming from, but I'm pretty sure I saw it from Shams, that it was 3 teams, Miami, Cleveland, and Philadelphia as possibilities. Are we ready to rule the Warriors out? I know you're talking about that as a possibility. It would make sense to me. Play with Steph Curry, stay on the West Coast. Where are we at with the either Final 3 or the Warriors being in play for LeBron?
I wouldn't dismiss the Warriors, because you just said the magic word, stay on the West Coast. And it's the one team that allows him to be closer to home. It's a 40-minute private plane ride. And I mean, he could go sleep home on game nights if he wanted to do that. Like that's a very attractive option to him. I think what's holding him up on the Warriors is one thing and one thing only: the ability to win. I think that's a problem with an older team like this. When you're looking at Steph Curry's gotten hurt a lot. Porzingis has always been limited availability with him. Al Horford is, 40 years old himself. Jimmy Butler's not going to play for at least half this season, and how's he going to recover from ACL surgery? And this could also be a situation where LeBron wants the Warriors to move the Butler contract to bring someone else in. You've heard Anthony Davis as a prominent name with that, and Washington's made it clear they don't want to trade Anthony Davis, which essentially means make us a real offer. We're not going to let him steal him from us. So I think I wouldn't rule Golden State out because there's that factor of being proximate to home. But I said this to you earlier. What we don't know is if LeBron is saying, hey, I need you to make this move for this guy to be able to make me want to come there and play for the league minimum. Some of that could be in place right now. But part of the problem is he's a victim of his own actions. Because if he does want teams to make moves, because he's been so close to the vest about this and no one really has an idea where he's going to go, everybody's kind of paralyzed here, Sal. No one's going to make a move till they know where he's going. So if he wants a team to make a move in advance of him going there to make it more attractive for him, what he's doing in the marketplace is handcuffing that a little bit too.
Why is he, forgive my ignorance on this, why not just stay with the Lakers? Was this a Lakers thing? I thought initially it was that he wanted to move on from there. Then I read somewhere that it might have been the Lakers kind of forcing him out. If he's valuing being on the West Coast and being with his family, with Luka there, I know that they weren't very good this year, but maybe they could have added the pieces here with Reeves. You mentioned it. Why not just stay with the Lakers? What happened? Was that a LeBron decision or the Lakers?
That's a LeBron decision. And it probably was a Laker decision before that. LeBron, to my understanding, felt very disrespected last summer. Listen, LeBron is a very, very bright guy. 90% of the time, he's extremely self-aware. LeBron knew when they traded for Luka Doncic that Luka Doncic was the better player, that he was living in Luka's world. He also believed, and I think correctly believed, that handing the mantle to Luka was something that the Lakers should have let LeBron do himself. Instead, as soon as they got Luka there, last summer, they dubbed it Luka's team. They went on a whole tour, Luka visiting people, Luka doing this, Luka doing that. When training camp started, Luka was the center of their universe, and they kind of, in LeBron's eyes, cast him aside a little bit. Now, here's the thing with LeBron. When he embraced being cast aside and embraced making it Luka's team, they had their best run of the season in March. He looked terrific. And I think LeBron would have done that on his own. But I think he felt like they disrespected him a little bit in that way by not letting him hand the reins to Luka, because I think it also made it harder for a relationship with Luka. If he hands the reins to Luka, he can give him some input. He can help him a little bit. He brought him a title. And I know people like to crap on that title. I don't. That was a hard title to win in 2020. LeBron brought them a title. And I think he felt like he deserved more respect from this organization that he didn't get. So when it came to that, LeBron wants to be respected for what he's accomplished. At the same time, he also wants to be respected for what he can still do on the floor. I don't think he felt the Lakers respected him at this point for either of those things. Plus, the other thing was this, the Westbrook trade and LeBron pushing them to do it. And then when it went bad, blaming them and not taking ownership, that definitely soiled things between LeBron and Rich Paul and Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka in the Lakers organization. And the Lakers kind of, once they got Luka, they were like, we kind of don't need this anymore. And so that relationship was definitely on the outs. And LeBron just at this stage of his career, and I don't blame him, he's not going to go anywhere where he doesn't feel like he's given the maximum level of respect. Again, not only for what he's achieved, but who he still is. This is still a 24/7 and 7 guy.
I'm not sure, Brian, he will get more respect from anybody than Pat Riley. And Riley talks about one more plane in the land. They brought in Giannis. How big of that relationship, the history there, where would you put Miami? I mean, if you're talking about respect and still a chance to win and a place he's been familiar with, I would probably have them up that list because of Pat Riley. How about the odds of him going back to the Heat?
Yeah, front of the line. And again, there's so many things that check boxes in Miami. First of all, as my buddy Jason Jackson, who's the Heat's radio announcer, always tells me, it's paradise. It doesn't suck living in Miami, Sal. So he loved it there when he was there the first time. It's a great place to live. The familiarity of the organization. Okay, there's not a lot different about the Heat when he was there last time than now. It's all business all the time, which he generally embraced for the most part till he decided he wanted to go back to Cleveland. The head coach, he knows how to work with Eric Spoelstra. Him and Spoelstra have a great relationship after not having a wonderful relationship early. He knows what he's coming back to. And as much as there's an allure in Golden State with Steve Kerr and coaching Team USA and all that, that's not coaching 4 seasons like he did with Eric Spoelstra. And he knows with Spoelstra, he can have a little bit of input to what happens. He's got a little bit of latitude. At times, he'll have to fall into line, but he's prepared to do that. He did that the last time. So Miami, to me, is the best fit if he doesn't prioritize money or prioritize being close to his family. And so those two are two things that Miami cannot provide. But basketball-wise, familiarity, coaching, respect, everything up and down the line, Miami will give him all of that.
All right, let's assume Warriors off the table. Let's assume it's one of the 3 teams in the Eastern Conference, Philly, Miami, Cleveland. How does this change the landscape in your mind with the East? I look at it, the Knicks are still the favorite. I don't care where he goes. I mean, there's a long way to go from where the Knicks are to where the East was, sweeping away the Sixers, sweeping away the Cavs. Can LeBron still have that big of an impact, whether it's pairing with Giannis, whether it's going back to Cleveland, or obviously going to Philadelphia with Jaylen Brown and Embiid? Can that move put them over the top of the Knicks in the Eastern Conference?
Right now, yes. LeBron has that kind of gravity here. Whatever those 3 East teams he goes to. First of all, I think Philadelphia can challenge for the East as is, and that's with Embiid playing 50 games and being healthy for the playoffs. I think Philadelphia is very, very good. The Jaylen Brown deal was a significant deal for them because it strengthens them on the defensive end of the floor. So I think Philadelphia is there either way. He would only strengthen that. Cleveland, he would help Cleveland a lot. I just wonder, there's not enough basketballs on the floor for the guys in Cleveland that are going to want the ball in their hands. So I do have a little bit of worry, but Cleveland's got a big need for him. And they did make a conference final last year, as putrid as they played in that conference final. So I will make Cleveland, yes, I think he would catapult them. And I think Miami, he just is a perfect fit. And granted, they would need to go find another shooter. The only real shooter they have is Tim Hardaway coming off that bench. But you put him there, because here's the thing with Miami as currently constituted. They're going to make games rock fights. They're going to play really slow basketball. They're going to lean into their size and their strength and their ability to guard, and that's how they're going to play. Put LeBron James on that team, and now you have a transition weapon that gets you easy baskets, and you can get out and run a little bit, which is a way the Heat have always wanted to play, high-volume threes and running when they can. They changed the system last year to not run a lot of pick and roll and more drive and kick. They'll probably go back to pick and roll with Giannis. If they get LeBron here, it becomes an entirely different ballgame in terms of what they can do tempo-wise, and I just think he'd be a super fit there. So to me, if Miami got him, it catapults Miami into that conversation as well, assuming everybody's healthy. So I think any 3 of those East teams, LeBron's still at the age of 41. Remember what I said earlier, Sal? Dude's still 24/7. He still moves the needle for any of these teams and puts them right there in the category of being able to go neck and neck with the New York Knicks.
You think the Knicks, it's just a one-off for you, or you look at them? I mean, the way that they did it was so impressive. Jalen Brunson, I know, is going to be more motivated. Halliburton back, the Heat better. Those are 2 teams the Knicks and Brunson haven't beaten, so that'll be a challenge there, assuming even if LeBron goes or not. It doesn't matter because they'll still have Giannis. You look at the Knicks as just being fortunate to take advantage of an opportunity that was there with the landscape being what it was, or do you look at them as a legitimate threat to repeat as champions?
No, so it's interesting. When I look at the Raptors championship in 2019, Sal, I thought they took advantage of opportunities and had a couple breaks go their way. They have a shot in the second round with Kawhi Leonard in a game 7 at a buzzer that rolls on the rim and drops in. They get to the Warriors in the finals and everybody collapses around them with the Warriors. No Durant, no Klay Thompson. I thought that was taking advantage of an opportunity. Make no mistake about it. The Knicks, up till they got to the Spurs, had an easy run to get out of the conference, right? Atlanta played them tough for a couple games. They made some meaningful changes, blew them out of the water. Philly did look like they belonged on the same court. Neither did Cleveland. They did a job on those teams. The Spurs are excellent, and the Knicks still disposed of them in 5. Here's my point about the Knicks. Style points matter when you look at the ability to repeat, and was it fluky? There's nothing fluky about going 16-3 in the playoffs. Period. Okay. And not only that, 15-1, won 15 of the last 16 games. I don't care who you're playing. This is the best the league has to offer. And the Knicks went out there and they kicked But, man, so I look at them for next year and say, hey, why wouldn't you pick them to come out of the East again with that kind of dominant playoff performance? Here's the one caveat I will say regarding the Knicks. They have been blessed in the last 2 years with a lot of health. And granted, part of being blessed with health this year was the fact that OG got hurt in the first round, but because they took care of business with 2 consecutive sweeps to get out of the East, they had 2 8-game breaks that allowed OG to heal and get healthy. And they did that themselves. That was not luck. That was something that they made for themselves. But they've had everybody healthy. They've had Brunson healthy. They've had Towns healthy. They've had Bridges and Hart healthy. If they bump up against some injuries here, that will be a big time equalizer. And again, I always go back to this because I think it's something that people underrate when it comes to the NBA and why teams load manage during the season. When you play into the middle of June, it's kind of quick getting back to training camp come September. And the Knicks are having a lot of fun celebrating. And don't get me wrong, Sal, they should have a lot of fun celebrating. But there's a long-term fatigue factor when you hit next April and next May that tends to creep up on you. And sometimes it's injuries and sometimes it's exhaustion. So that's the one thing I'll watch with the Knicks. But there's no doubt a dominant performance like that, 16-3 in the playoffs, 15 out of their last 16. They have earned the opportunity here and certainly earned my prediction to come out of the East all over again next year.
Thank you, Brian. You're the man. Great catching up with you. Good to hear from you again. Check him out, Sirius XM NBA Radio. He is the great Brian Geltzire.
Always my pleasure, Sal. Talk to you soon, buddy. You take care.
All right, been a while since I've talked to Geltzire there. That was fun, and I reminded of how good he is on the air with the NBA stuff. All right, we'll have Herm Edwards coming up at 11 o'clock, so we'll look forward to talking some NFL with Herm. As for LeBron, we just await. We sit back and await the decision. Just keep waiting. I don't want to say I don't care because I do care, but I just like to think he has an idea of where he's going. Make a decision already. It's been 3 weeks, for goodness sake. Although if he did make a decision, what would we be talking about at this point? All right. Anyway, this is SalLicata here in for Nick Kostos. You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
SalLicata in for Nick Kostos. You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports. Today, BetMGM players will receive an any sport parlay boost token. To use the parlay boost token, add a parlay wager to your bet slip and activate the token. If you win your wager that was made with the token, you will receive extra winnings. Download the BetMGM app today. Please gamble responsibly. You know, I was talking about books before. I also want to go see some movies. Actually, I really want to go see some Broadway plays, but I just can't do that. Like, can't find the time to do that without a babysitter. We had a babysitter, and then we don't have a babysitter anymore. My wife wasn't, loving that babysitter. Whatever. I thought she was fine myself. But anyway, need to find a babysitter, and then that becomes a whole thing. Now you got to pay for the babysitter, go into the city, go see the play. But I really want to see the Stranger Things play on Broadway. And if you're listening to this not in New York, well, whatever. It's my life. But I do want to go see some movies as well. I just love going to the movies. Is there anything better than walking into the theater, getting that smell of popcorn, picking out whatever candy you may like, knowing that you're going to escape from the crappy reality, the harsh realities of the world, whatever they may bring, the stress of work, family, anxiety, whatever it may be. Escape for, nowadays, like 2.5 hours, 3 hours maybe for a movie. How long is The Odyssey? People are telling me about this thing, The Odyssey, and it's even my wife. Like, oh, we got to go see The Odyssey. I don't even know what The Odyssey is. What is this? Some is it like The Gladiator? I don't understand. Homer's Odyssey or Homer's what is it, Tyler? Can you educate me on what The Odyssey is exactly? I know Matt Damon's in it, right? And Anne Hathaway. That's what I was.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm not a big movie guy, but this is all over social media, so I had to look it up. Yeah, it's but by what you said, it's 2 hours, 52 minutes. Yeah, it's from Homer's Greek epic poem, according to Google. So I've read this book for 5 years in middle school and high school. Still have no idea what it's about. So I'm not going to see it, but I hope it's a good time.
Yeah, I almost need to, dude. Even what you just said, people were trying to tell me. I'm like, all right, well, what's it about? And they're like, whoa, like Homer and the Odyssey and the I'm like, yeah, I still don't know what it's about. But I like seeing any movie that is critically acclaimed. Like, even recently I watched what's that one? Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling. And that was a very it's not great. I don't think best pick great, but it was good. It was an enjoyable watch. And it got 94 on Rotten Tomato, whatever it was. I love watching movies. So if it's critically acclaimed, I will check it out. Right now, by the way, I'm into House of Dragons. You watch that, Tyler, or you're not even into do you watch TV? You don't watch movies, you watch TV?
No. There's a running joke on the show. I've seen maybe 5 movies in the last 8 years. I'm not a movie guy.
And no TVs though. You don't watch TV shows either?
No, not really. I think I've binge watched one TV show and it was Entourage. So there you go.
Bro, what do you do with your time?
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm serious. What do you do with it? That's it? I'm assuming you're single or what? Are you married? What
yeah, I am. Oh, if I was married or had a girlfriend, I'd be watching these TV shows. But I'm by myself. I'd rather watch NBA Summer League.
Bro, you're watching NBA Summer League?
Oh, of course.
You're down bad, huh? You betting on the Summer League too?
Actually, it's my favorite event to bet. Yes, it's my favorite event to bet.
The Summer League?
Oh yeah, we've done this on the show for years. It's my I've been to the event twice. I love it. It's a good time.
God bless you. I couldn't think of a sport that I'd be interested in less than the NBA Summer League. I watched some of the highlights. Tyler Nickel, is that the guy the Knicks just picked? Whatever, knocking down some threes. So I see that. All right, so I see him knocking down some threes. Cool, but the Summer League, nah, man. World Cup, I was into, and I'm not a big soccer guy. I know Kostos was all over it. Predicting that the dude from Norway would be a stud 5 years ago. Good for Nick. I'll be more in the World Cup next year, but bro, I advice for you. And I'm sorry for being repetitive. Obviously, this is my first time on the show. We're just getting to know each other here, Tyler. You've got to watch some TV or some shows outside of sports. The Summer League. Who's your favorite team?
I'm a Philly fan, so Philadelphia and all the sports. So 76ers.
Oh,
yes,
bro,
no movies.
bro. Wait, Philadelphia what?
76ers.
Semi-Sixers.
Philadelphia.
The Philadelphia Semi-Sixers, because they can't get out of the semifinal round. Wow. I mean, I respect it. I respect the passion. I respect the loyalty. I respect the fandom, of course. I mean, I too am a diehard sports fan. But being so into sports, you also got to take a little bit of a break from it And I love myself a good movie. Oh, man, nothing better than going to the movies. But right now I'm in a House of Dragons on HBO. It's like the Game of Thrones, not even spinoff, but maybe it is a spinoff. I have no idea. But I love Dude, I'm really into it. I like binging. I'll binge all sorts of stuff now. I mean, is everything everywhere? Matter of fact, the worst part about it is that I want to go like, okay, let's watch a new show. Let's check out HBO Max. Let's see what's on Netflix. Let's check out Paramount Plus. Let's check out this one, that one. Before you know it, I spent an hour looking for a show, and now I'm tired and falling asleep. That's the issue. And you only, being a sports fan, this is really the time to do it. You got the baseball games going on, which you could pay attention to that. And in New York, we got the two, so we got to pay attention to both those. But I mean, outside of that, this is pretty soon it's the end. Once football season comes around, there's no binging. It's all football, whether it's college, whether it's NFL, it's all about football. And that is what we look forward to. But now, while we're in binge season or movie season, I'm going to enjoy it. A little book, a little movie, a little TV show, a little baseball. That's the balance. Certainly no NBA Summer League. I mean, does the Summer League even matter? When has ever anything you've ever seen in the Summer League actually transfer over to the NBA like that year? Does that even happen, Tyler? I mean,
nope,
Summer League, who's there? Come on. I'd rather watch Jalen. Yeah, it's irrelevant. I'd rather watch Jalen Brunson in the wrestling ring. Saturday Night Main Event. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. That's what I'm more into. I'll be into some NFL when we come back. Herm Edwards, former NFL head coach, current NFL analyst. We'll have some fun going around the league. An early season preview with the great Herm Edwards when we come back. SalLicata in for Nick Kostos. You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
SalLicata in for Nick Kostos here on You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports. Let's talk some NFL, shall we? As we'll do so with former NFL head coach, current ESPN analyst, Herm Edwards. And welcome in, Herm, to the show here. A bunch of questions as we get set for training camp, which will take place for most teams reporting next week. And, we'll look forward to that, of course, like I said before, Hard Knocks and all those type different things. I really look forward to that. Herm, SalLicata here. Pleasure to be joined by you. How you doing?
I am well, thank you. Excited, obviously, if you're a football fan. Season's about to kick off. It's kind of interesting. I guess there's 10 new head coaches. So that's a lot of new head coaches, but that's the way of the league, I guess, anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They don't make them like they used to. So much for stability. I mean, year in, year out, they're changing like this. Who do you think, Herm, had the best offseason? Which team had the best offseason in your mind?
Well, when you look at offseason, you got to ask the question. When you think about the offseason, there's a couple things. It's always about signing the players that have been on your roster. You don't want them to get away, the good ones. Then free agency. What have you done to build your team that way, and also the draft? So I think when you look at those three factors, I think all teams feel like they've, maybe not done it exactly like they like. But you never know. We know of the name players that switch teams, and we get all excited. But at the end of the day, you really won't know until about the fourth game of the season, to be quite honest. Because that's
which is crazy.
Because you don't play preseason games anymore. Well, you don't play preseason games.
It wasn't like that back in your day. It wasn't like that with you, right, Herm? When you were coaching, like you could tell.
Yeah, well, you could tell, but also this, it's so much change. I mean, that when you get a guy, whether you're an offensive, defensive player, now a quarterback, obviously, that's a big deal. But when you get position players, do they fit? Do they fit in your scheme? That's the first thing I ask the question. Is the guy going to fit to what you want to do? Because if you're trying to change the guy, that's failure for the coach and failure for the player. So all these things become a factor.
What do you think of, you talk about head coaches and the changes, the Giants hiring John Harbaugh, for me, no better coach than that, legitimizes the program. Do you think the Giants can take a significant step forward in the NFC East this year and maybe be a team that can compete for a playoff spot?
I do. I do. I think that the quarterback obviously went through what he went through, his whole deal, I think, and Coach Harbaugh is going to tell him, he had a guy similar to that with some athletic ability that could run, and was Lamar Jackson. And, he made sure Lamar understood, look, all that running around, it sounds good, it looks good, and you get everybody excited, and running into people. But you got to play the next snap. You're the quarterback. You got to be available, man. You can't get hurt running because you're running. You got to duck, man. You got to slide. You got to protect yourself. So I think it's a team that obviously has a good front defensively. Offensively, they've got enough players over there now. I think they can do some things. And Coach Harbaugh will bring a mentality where, if you're a Giant fan, you're going to love to hear this. They're going to run the ball some. They're going to be a hard-nosed football team because that's what Harbaugh believes. That's the Giants. That's the Giants in the era that I played against. And when you watch them be successful, they always had a good running attack, had a good quarterback that would make good decisions with the ball and play fabulous defense.
You mentioned running the football. I don't know if you've seen this, but Scadaboo, obviously a guy who's just, he's a little bit of a nutty character there, smashing his head against walls and doing the backflips. He did a backflip the other day, coming off of an injury, doing a backflip on stage at Fanatics Fest, didn't even land it properly. How would you handle that as a head coach if you saw your guy doing that?
Well, you got to protect him from himself because, he's a tough guy. He's a physical guy, and the players love him. You love the guy. You want the guy on your team, but you got to tell him, you're going to have a short shelf life, especially as a runner. This is not college football. You can't run these guys over. It's nice that you want to be physical, and we want to be a physical team. But here again, the way he's doing things, his shelf life is going to be very short because eventually those hits add up, and so you got to be careful. And running backs, as you know, their life expectancy is not very long anyway.
Yeah, especially with him, you would think. You're right. Running backs overall don't have a great life expectancy with him. Guy who's been, I respect him for being just wild and fearless, but you also got to be smart at points. Couple more in the NFC East, Herm. Let's stay in the NFC East. A lot of talk about the Cowboys off a big offseason, potentially could have expected to have a bigger in-season. Are you as high on the Cowboys as everybody else seems to be at this point?
Well, if they fix their defense now. Obviously, on paper, it's fixed, but they haven't played yet. This is the number one offense in the league. Some people just forget that. I mean, Dak Prescott and his offense, they're scoring 30-plus points a game now. They can score the ball. I mean, they can score the football. They just couldn't stop anybody. Now, can they stop people? That'll be interesting. And it's all up front. They got to be able to stop the run. They got to slow people down and then let their athletes play in space defensively, because they got some guys that can rush the quarterback. Got a pretty good secondary. They can take the ball away. They got to stop the run. If they can do that, Dallas is going to be hard to deal with.
What about Philadelphia? Potential step back after having to move on from A.J. Brown?
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that. I think the Eagles offensively, can they get, they look like, when you remember the old stick shift when you were shifting and every time the clutch would, that clutch would stick on you every once in a while. Man, you couldn't get it into gear. That's their offense. And when you watch them play offense last year, that's what their offense looked like. They could never get in flow to anything. It's like, it's sticky. And they got enough guys now there besides A.J. Brown that with the ball in their hand that can make plays. How do you distribute the ball to these guys? That's going to be the key. Defensively, I think they're going to be fine defensively, but it's the offensive side of it. They got to get into a flow.
You look at the NFC North, loaded teams there. Caleb Williams, another year with the Bears.
Yeah.
Obviously, their head coach, Ben Johnson, doing a great thing. Step back for the Lions last year. Maybe they get healthier this year. How do you see the NFC North loaded team? Jordan Love with the Packers, obviously the Vikings, and the quarterback guru, KOC. Where are you looking at with the North? I know it's way early, Herm, but just getting your expertise on this. How do you see the North playing out this year?
Well, you don't feel like Green Bay is going to, play like they did last year, obviously, but here again, that's the quarterback. Can Caleb Williams continue to play at the level he played at last year? And I anticipated that. I said it last year. I was a Bear fan. I said, look, Ben Johnson's going there. All these Bear fans are mad. Caleb Williams say they shouldn't have picked him. Well, guess what? He showed them last year. Well, this is why they picked me. Can he continue to do that? Detroit kind of fell off the map last year. I don't see them playing like they did last year. I think they're going to be. This is a prideful team. They got hit in the mouth. I mean, the division has caught up with Detroit all of a sudden. The Bears, the Packers, obviously. When you look at this division, the Lions were kind of the talk of the town for about the last 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden they got hit in the mouth. I mean, the division got better. The Vikings. Look, can the quarterback, can this quarterback that they have, can he, all of a sudden they bring in Kyler Murray. Well, what Kyler Murray are they bringing in? That's what I want to know. Are they bringing in a guy that was successful, or are they bringing in the guy that all of a sudden didn't look the same? That's going to be interesting because they can play defense. The Minnesota Vikings ranked third in the National Football League in defense now. They don't allow you any points. You can't score on them, only 19 points a game. I mean, they are very, very good on defense, and they hit the quarterback a lot. So if this offense can go, they're going to be in contention too.
SalLicata filling in for Nick Kostos. You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports. We'll talk with ESPN analyst Herm Edwards. Not going to waste anybody's time, Herm, on the NFC South, even though whatever. The Falcons with Tua and Penix, okay, the Saints. But I want to go right to the West. The West is such a beast of a division. You look at the head coaches. I love Shannon. Yeah. Seahawks are Super Bowl champs. I love Kyle Shanahan. And obviously the Rams, McVay, potentially Aaron Donald. My God, do you think anybody, all due respect to the reigning Super Bowl champs, I mean, is there anybody that can compete right now on paper going into the year with the Los Angeles Rams?
They're scary. If the quarterback can stay healthy, they're scary. You know, their defense kind of let them down a little bit toward the end. That's what got them. The defense didn't hold the water. This is another team. When they line up, it's 30 points. Now, they got a receiver that's in the news for doing the wrong things. All right? He got to figure that thing out. But this offense, oh boy. And Matthew Stafford, and look, Stafford's his clock is ticking. He's not a young quarterback anymore, and he knows that. This team knows that. They drafted a young guy. Look, I understand that's the future. But can Matthew Stafford continue to play the way he played? I'm a Matthew Stafford fan. I love the guy, the way he plays, and the way this offense plays. I mean, they're fun to watch. But you're right. They're in maybe the best division in football. When you think about, San Francisco, they were injured last year, still found a way to win 12 games. Seattle wins the Super Bowl. I mean, all these teams are 12 wins or more teams. Now, the Cardinals are still trying to catch up. But those three teams in the division, as you mentioned, San Francisco, Seattle, and they are something. And the Rams, I mean, it's a fun division to watch.
Another loaded division as we now transition to the AFC. Look at the AFC West. I mean, Sean Payton, Andy Reid, Harbaugh, obviously Vegas, trying to get on the map here with drafting Mendoza. You think that it's just, the Chiefs will be back reigning supreme here with Mahomes, a healthy Mahomes? You worried about Mahomes coming off an injury? How are you evaluating the AFC West and those top dogs after Denver was terrific a year ago?
I think teams have caught up with them too, with the Chiefs. They had their run. I think Mahomes will come back healthy. He'll be fantastic. But I think this division is not the Chiefs division just to say we're the Chiefs and we're going to win it because Patrick Mahomes is healthy. I think these teams have done things the last couple of years to understand, and this is what you do in the offseason when you're in a division. You draft players and you build your team to compete and to win the division. That's how it all starts in the offseason. All this stuff people say, no. You actually look at your division and go, okay, how can we win our division? The Chargers, Broncos, the Raiders have been looking up at the Chiefs. These are the people we have to get so we can compete with the Chiefs, whether it's through free agency or the draft. These teams have kind of done that. So now it's kind of like the Chargers are like, Chargers are pretty good. Broncos, young quarterback. Broncos, pretty good. I get it. The Raiders. I get the Raiders. Okay, got a young quarterback. Not saying that they're there yet, but they got a quarterback, and I'm hoping the kid really does good because at the end of the day, the Raiders need to be significant. They need to be. The league always is better when the Raiders are good because they need a bully in the league, and when the Raiders were the bullies, everybody was like, "Oh, the Raiders are coming to town." That's just the NFL. You always need a bully, and that was the era that I played in. It was the Raiders. The guys with the patch in their eye. These are the bad guys, and so they need to be good. They need to be relevant, and I think this young quarterback Mendoza, if they build around the young man, which I hope they do, the Raiders will be okay. I think the worst thing they ever did, and I say it all the time, they should have never left Oakland because that was their mojo when they were in Oakland.
Yeah, it's hard to be bullies in Vegas. It's like more party scene. Oakland, you know it better than anybody else, whether it's coaching against them, playing against. The black hole down there in Oakland. Yeah.
Yeah, boy. It was a lot of fun going into that place, too, now. It was unbelievable.
The more I look at this, Herm, around the league here, there's a lot of parity, and I guess the league likes that because you can make a case. You look at the AFC South, you can make a case. Cam Ward and the Titans doing some good things. Robert Saleh getting a second opportunity to be a head coach. The Colts with Daniel Jones. The Jaguars. The Texans. What's up with the Texans? Do you think that they could stabilize that offensive line and see the best of C.J. Stroud? What are you thinking AFC South going into the year with those teams?
They got a Super Bowl defense. They got the best defense in football. Quarterback is he's got to look. He got to step up now. He's got to step up. A lot of pressure on this quarterback, Stroud, because he's got the best defense in football. You talking about not letting you score? You can't make first downs with these guys. They're incredible defensively. If he can just play, good, not great, just play good, Texans, they're good now. They got a good football team. But it's quarterback, and that's the key. And we talk about it all the time. But at the end of the day, it's the guy that plays with the ball. Because games come down to a couple plays for the most part. Games are tight when you look at games. I mean, there's not a lot of blowout games in the NFL unless you turn the ball over a bunch, right? It's generally 2-score, 1-score games. You get into the third quarter and you're looking up at the scoreboard and you're going, man, we're down 1 score. Okay, we're in the game. You're thinking we should have blown this team out. It's tough. It's tough. And the quarterback's the guy. When he has the opportunity to make a play, he's got to make the play. He plays with the ball in his hand. That's why they pay the guy all that money. But when you have a quarterback that can make plays at the moment that is needed, you got a chance to win. That's how you win 10 or more games with the quarterback.
The Bengals have that with Joe Burrow, one of my favorite teams to watch because of the offense. I love watching them. But the defense isn't there. Did they upgrade enough, Herm, to be – what about those Bengals?
We say that every year. I mean, and that, the defense and then the quarterback got to stay healthy. He got to stay healthy. It's a shame. I mean, most of his season has been like a fan. He's watched, right? And you hate it. When he gets hurt, you go, no, man, don't get hurt. You don't want him to get hurt. He doesn't want to get hurt. But then he gets hurt. And you go, here we go. Here goes the Bengals again. I mean, and they're, like you said, they're in a division where you look at it and you go, okay, since the Ravens, they got a new coach. A lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson, by the way. Lamar Jackson, they chose Lamar Jackson over the coach. I get it. I get it. Coaches won all those games, didn't win enough, that's the problem in the NFL or anywhere when you're coaching. You can win games, you can get in the playoffs, but all of a sudden, if you don't win enough playoff games or win the game that you're supposed to win, they get tired of you. They say, well, he only can take them this far. We need somebody else. Okay. So they got rid of him. They kept the quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Guess what? Lamar, it's on you now. It's on you. Because if they don't go, all fingers point at Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, they were pointing at Lamar anyway, but to your point, now without Harbaugh there, the guy who coached him up, it is solely on Lamar Jackson. First goes the coach, then goes the quarterback. If he doesn't get it done, he'll be next, and they'll be looking to replace him. You famously once said, you play to win the game. Hello, you play to win the game. Do you think the Jets are going to be playing to win the game, or are they going to be playing to get Arch Manning next year?
Oh, I think they're going to try to win. Aaron Glenn's not going to allow them to not try to do that. You don't worry about that. Now, that Archie Manning kid, tell you what, he's really good. I know that for a fact. He's really no. I got an inside on that one, right? Both my daughters go to Texas.
Okay.
So I go to practice at times. I'm there. They're at the University of Texas. Both my daughters. One's a sophomore, the other one's a junior, and they work for Stark. So I'm a Texas fan. I'm a Hook'em fan, right? I'm a Hook'em fan. I pay tuition down there. I got to be a Hook'em fan. I like Stark too. They got a good football team, and that Manning kid, he's good now. He's good, boy. He's good, man. He's big, too. He's big. He's athletic. He can throw it. He's a good player. I mean, he's going to be a good player.
Sounds like you want to come back and maybe coach him. I mean, maybe get you back on the field there, coach. You get the number one pick.
No. I got the safest job in America. When you do TV, man, there's no wins or losses. You just watch the games and you talk about it. You feel bad for the coaches that lose. You go, oh, boy, I know the pain. I know that pain. I felt that pain.
Last one, Coach, and we appreciate your time. Where are you at with the Bills and Josh Allen here? It felt like last year was their year. The window was there for them. Turns out it wasn't. The Patriots ended up getting to the Super Bowl. Could this be finally the year where Josh Allen, a new coach in town there? You mentioned one of the coaching changes before. Where are you at with the Bills?
Well, you need to know this, and I'm biased, and I tell this all the time when I have to talk about the Bills. He's my favorite player, Josh Allen. I think he's the best player in the National Football League. Bar none. Bar none. See, and I always say when you watch Josh Allen, don't view him as a quarterback. Just look at him as a football player. Just watch him play football. The things he does when he runs and he's a football player. Now, the Goose has a football player. If they don't have Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, if Josh Allen's not their quarterback, they win 6 games every year, right? They basically win. They're a 6-win team without Josh Allen at the end of the day. And I could be nice to say maybe win 8. I doubt it. 6. Can they fix the defense? Can they fix the run defense? That has been the problem. It's amazing. They can't look at their run defense. I mean, worst in the league. Not even close. Can they fix that? Because if they can fix that, they got a chance, right? Because they got a great quarterback. They can move the ball on offense. They can score points. They went out and got him a few more weapons. But think about the weapons he had, Josh Allen. When I used to ask people this, when they break the huddle, the Buffalo Bills on offense, what are you afraid of? Quarterback and the runner. Are you afraid of their receivers? No. I mean, I'm not saying they're not good. They're good receivers, but I'm saying you don't you go, okay, we got to stop the runner and the quarterback. They've been playing football that way for the last 3 or 4 years with this quarterback and the runner on offense. They got good players on offense, but no one scares you when they get outside the huddle. Wide receivers, they don't scare you, right? Think about it. Now they've gotten some guys. Okay, got the quarterback. Yeah. So now they got a chance. And remember this. This is what's great about them. And I love teams that do this. The teams that play in the Northeast, they play outside. The teams that play outside, they got an advantage when November hits, when the wind starts blowing, and it's raining, and it's cold, and you got a quarterback, Josh Allen, big hands. He can throw it in the wind. He can run. You got a chance when you got guys like that on your team.
Sold. I loved him before. I love him even more. Thank you, Herm, for your time today. We appreciate it. Always great to hear from you. Love your passion and your energy. He is Herm Edwards, ESPN analyst, obviously former NFL head coach with the Chiefs, with the Jets. I loved watching Herm when he was coaching the Jets. He's great. A great soundbite there. And he loves, clearly the main takeaway from that, loves Josh Allen and Arch Manning. He can play now. How about Herm? And now I really want to see Arch Manning in New York. I'd love to get to watch him every day. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. Arch, maybe much like Peyton, would not want to be with the Jets if they, in fact, do have the first overall pick. But who knows? Ways to go for that. We'll be in both the college football season and the NFL season coming up soon enough. There is one thing that Herm said in there that has inspired me to make my bet of the day here. We'll do that coming up in about, 30 minutes or so. So we'll do that for the final segment of the show. Take a break here, come back, talk some baseball a little bit with Shohei Ohtani. Also, I mentioned Scattaboo with Herm. We could do that as well on the other side. SalLicata in for Nick Kostos. You better, you bet. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
SalLicata in for Nick Kostos this morning on You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports. We talked about it a little bit with Herm just before, but I haven't given my thoughts yet on this. Okay, a part of me wants to sit here, traditional radio style, and rip Cam Scatterbo to shreds for being reckless. You might have already seen Chris Mad Dog Russo, who, by the way, one of my all-time favorites. You might have already seen his viral rant on it, I guess on his First Take show as opposed to the radio show. He was doing it on First Take, ripping Scatterbo, being reckless, stupid, blah, 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 blah. And that is predictable, also very highly entertaining. And a part of me does feel similar to the way Dog does with Scatterbo not doing that. However, like, all right, like, is that any worse? Is Scatterbo doing it, in case you missed it, Cam Scatterbo, who's coming off a significant leg injury, broken leg, or whatever it was, broken ankle, whatever it was exactly with the Giants last season. Matter of fact, I remember being at a wrestling event. I think it was Monday Night Raw, it was John Cena's last Raw at the Garden. Scatterbo was there, and he got involved a little bit. He was pushed by one of the wrestlers, even though he was in like a, what the hell do you call it? Not a wheelchair, but he was in a walking boot on like a thing, on like a little scooter type thing. And that's obviously the least of the concerns when, wrestling is, like they're going to make sure to protect the guy. He's not getting in the ring, dropping the leg on anybody. But Scatterbo's always doing reckless stuff. So to me, it's less about the backflip that failed. And that was maybe the more alarming thing, is his leg full strength after he did a backflip on stage, which he does. That's his thing. He scores touchdowns. He does those flips. You don't want to take that away from him. Other guys have done that before. They like doing the back. Like, you just supposed to not do flips anymore? I mean, I watched Benson Boone in concert a week ago. That dude was flipping all over the place, and he makes it look easy. I love Benson Boone, by the way. Highly underrated performer. I know mostly like teen girls, I guess, love him, or moms or whatever, but he's become one of my favorite artists. The music is great. And he puts on a show with those flips. Anyway, that's what Scatterbo does. Scatterbo is going to do that. So could he have hurt himself if he fell awkwardly and missed, the stage, or fell, whatever? Could it have been bad? I guess. Should he be doing that stuff? Probably not, but that's who he is. So you're either going to deal with it, or you got to move on from a play like that. Like, the Giants knew what they were getting. Now, it was clearly a different regime that drafted him. Joe Shane's still here, but talking about Harbaugh, it was Brian Daboll and that regime that drafted Cam Scatterbo. Maybe Harbaugh wouldn't have brought in a player that could be reckless like that. I'm not 100% sure, but there is great risk and great reward excuse me, to having a player like Scatterbo. The reason why Giant fans love him and we love watching him is he's unafraid. He's not scared of anything. I don't care how little he is. The guy is reckless. That's a good thing. Reckless on the football field. Not for your quarterback, Jackson Dart, but for your running back. Put the head down and go bowl over some people. Run through some people. But with that comes the physical nature, the violent nature of not only the NFL, but his game in particular, which could lead to being off injured and potentially being reckless off the field. And that's where you have an issue. So it's a fine line. I think it's easy to just sit here and say, you've got to be smarter than that. Out of the league. Kick him out of the league. Mad Dog's famous rant, Pac-Man Jones. Look it up on YouTube. Out of the league. He's not saying that about Scatterbo, but there is a fine line between saying he's got to be smarter than that and Harbaugh's got to police it, to also wanting Scatterbo to be himself. This has evolved me as a talk show host. Like, you evolve and think about different things in different angles. I don't want Scatterbo if he's not going to be himself. What good is that? Then he'd be like everybody else. Maybe worse. I want Cam Scatterbo to be himself. So how do you, as a head coach in today's world, with social media and college players getting paid, players being more sensitive than ever before, it's very hard to properly coach that and also keep the player, in this case Scatterbo, doing what you love him doing or being who you love him being. Obviously, like, same thing with Jackson Dart, actually. I mean, we didn't see Jackson Dart doing flips coming off a broken leg, but we did see Jackson Dart, jumping off of yachts into the ocean. Okay, is that reckless? Could be. I mean, what if he slipped and fell? I mean, you could talk about anything you do at some point could be reckless. But also with Jackson Dart being reckless on the field. See, that's a difference there too. Dart has the personality of a megastar. Now, he hasn't done anything yet in the NFL, but he's acting as if he is, Joe Willie Namath, Tom Brady, all of the above, which is great, but you got to back it up on the field. On the field, Dart has been reckless and not showing a willingness to mature or understand, because he keeps saying the same thing. No, I'm going to play my game. I'm not going to slide feet first. If I need an extra yard, that's just my game, which I respect. It's commendable, but also there's no good of you reaching for that extra yard, going head first, being knocked out, and then having to miss several weeks. That's not going to do anybody any good. So Harbaugh's got a big challenge on his hand to teach his guys, in particular Dart at the quarterback position, to be less reckless on the football field, and then teach his running back that's coming off an injury to be less reckless off the field. It's going to be challenging here. Giants have some pieces in place, and you heard Herm talk about it, the impact of a great head coach like Harbaugh, how far that could take them. Well, there is ways to go for this group to mature. Now, I would trust if anybody could do it, it's Harbaugh. But still, ways to go. And as much as I'd love to go nuts ripping Scadaboo, so what? He did a backflip on a stage doing a wrestling thing at an event. Whatever. He's done dumber things to me on his streams. He just goes on there and says dumb stuff and smashes his head against chairs. And guy's an animal. He's insane, Scadaboo. I don't know if there is coaching that. But that's also the beauty of Cam Scadaboo. Good luck to John Harbaugh trying to figure that out. All right, we'll come back and finish things up here. SalLicata in for Nick Kostos. You Bet or You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Welcome back to You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
SalLicata in for Nick Kostos. You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports. Today, BetMGM players will receive an any sport parlay boost token. To use the parlay boost token, add a parlay wager to your bet slip and activate the token. If you win your wager that was made with the token, you'll receive extra winnings. Download the BetMGM app today. Please gamble responsibly. We told you either before the break or before last break. I just want to make sure I read. Tyler, you sure I read the right read there? Because I feel like I read that one 3 times. I just want to make sure we get them all in. Anyway, if you need me to read the other one, let me know. Okay. I told you before the break that Shohei Ohtani, like, ooh, yeah, Ohtani. Everybody goes nuts about Ohtani. Greatest player ever since Babe Ruth. Can you believe it? A guy who can pitch at the high level and hit the way that he can. Yeah, except the problem is he doesn't do both. Like, he's done both on occasion. He doesn't do both all the time. So no one does. You're right. Like, no one does that, including Shohei Ohtani. So this year, where it was talked about Ohtani, he's been lights out when he has pitched. He's pitched in 14 games. He started 14 games this year, 14 games a year ago. Last year's ERA was 2.87. This year, 1.79. So absolutely dominant. 8-2 with a 1.79 ERA. In 85 innings. And last year was 47 innings. Matter of fact, so Ohtani, since he's been in the league, he threw 51 innings in 2018. He didn't pitch in 2019. Pitched an inning and 2/3 in 2020, obviously the pandemic year, but also, injury, whatever. 2021, he threw 130 innings. Okay, good. 130, that's good. 166 the following year. Good. 132 the following year. Not very good. Nothing in 2024 since coming to the Dodgers. Nothing in 2024. Last year, 47 innings. This year, 85. Like, that's not pitching. The guy's been in the big leagues for 7 years. He's thrown 600 innings. Okay, now is it 600 more than your favorite position player? Like 600 innings more than Aaron Judge? Sure, but to me, to truly be deemed like this great phenom who can both pitch and hit at the same time, I feel like you have to do it for a little bit more than 85 innings in a season or 14 games. The majority of his time playing is as a DH. Now, that's not a knock. It's just the reality of the situation. Ohtani, so we gave you the innings. If you look at games played, he's at 92 games this year, 158 the year before, 159 the year before that. Like, he had a couple of years with the Angels that he was pitching and he was hitting. A couple of years. Okay, and it's great. Like a marvel. Unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. But let's not make it like Shohei Ohtani is a Hall of Fame pitcher and Hall of Fame player. He doesn't play the field. He is a DH. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame, because he will, of course. And I understand he's going to win the MVP again because he always does. And everybody's like, oh my God, he pitched an inning. Wow. Look at that. Look at the great Shohei Ohtani. To me, in 2024, he shouldn't have been the MVP of the league, because to be the most valuable player, you actually have to play. And Shohei Ohtani didn't play. He DH'd. He DH'd almost every game, but he DH'd. And yeah, you look at the numbers and they're incredible. 54 homers, 130 ribbies. Okay, I get it. You know, the OPS over 1,000. Like, he's a beast. Nobody's going to argue that. You'd be foolish to argue that. I'm just arguing, is it more valuable to be a DH on an already loaded team, going back to 2024, or was it more valuable to do what Francisco Lindor did, put up big numbers at shortstop every single day, and get the Mets, the lowly little Mets that barely made the postseason, get them into the playoffs, and being the primary force of why they went to the playoffs? And that's just 1 year. Now, again, same thing, like, oh, it's the Ohtani Award. Like, no way Juan Soto or anybody else can compete because Ohtani is the most valuable. Well, why? Well, because he can pitch and hit. Can he? Can he? 80 innings? 85 innings? 47 innings a year ago? That's pitching? I mean, how many innings does Paul Skeens pitch? Don't the best pitchers actually pitch a lot of innings? Like, I mean, forget about the days of 200. I mean, obviously it used to be beyond that, but forget about 200. How about 150? How about 130? How about 100? How about 100 innings? Can you give me that? And he can't do that. And not only, I think he actually could do it. I don't think he wants to do it because his knee is barking. It's why he didn't perform in the All-Star game. He doesn't want to do it because he wants to preserve his body for the postseason run. Now, maybe he comes back and pitches for the Dodgers in the playoffs. Maybe we'll see that happen. But that is not doing it then the whole year. The marvel or the idea of Ohtani is that he can both pitch and hit. So he's probably saving himself for the postseason, just like he did last year. Pitch in the playoffs. And, the Dodgers are going to be there. There's no need to pitch him in the regular season, so have him rest and then go do it in the postseason. Okay, fair enough. And I know people will hear this and be like, oh, dude, come on. What's wrong with you? You hate Shohei Ohtani. I don't hate Shohei Ohtani. I think he's great. I just think he gets overblown of what he is as a pitcher and player. I think he is an elite offensive player. That has been proven. That is not even up for debate. Elite offensive player. Postseason, regular season, elite. Been a stud. Angels, Dodgers, whatever. When healthy, obviously. And he's had a bunch of really good years. 46 and 100. 34 95, 44 95, 54 130, 55 102. Not going to get to 50 this year, but whatever. He's at 22 and 60 right now. Down year for him offensively. And that's part of the point. Down year maybe for him offensively. OPS down, it's under 1,000, like it's 930. Okay, still great. But normally he's slugging over 600. He's not there. Normally the on base is, I know on base is on par with what he's at. I was going to say over 400. He's only done that 1 year over 400. His on base is on par with what he's done. His average is kind of on par to what he's done. The OPS down a little bit because the slugging is down. Okay, maybe the wear and tear from actually pitching is taking a toll on him, but that's the point. That's why other players can't do it. He has not done both pitch and hit at a high level for an extended period. Period, end of story. That's the point. That's all. So let's not pretend that he has. It's great when he does it, but to be like, oh my God, he pitches and he hits. Yeah, maybe for a game or two. He hasn't done that enough. I don't need to go back and look at Babe Ruth's game logs as far as how many innings he pitched, but I will. And Babe Ruth, when he was pitching, when he first came in, like 200 innings, 300 innings, 300 innings, like 166, like Babe Ruth for 5 years threw well over 100 innings. And then at those same times as a player, also performed at a high level. I think, if the math adds up right. Anyway, what the hell? Who cares about Babe Ruth? What are we talking about, Sal? Come on. You're doing a national sports talk show. Wake up here. And nobody cares about baseball anyway. But I just thought it was interesting that Ohtani, dealing with the boo-boo on his knee, doesn't want to pitch anymore. Oh, okay. So now he's like every other player, except he doesn't play the field. Guys who play the field to me are more valuable. Yes, Kenny, I understand. A 10 strikeout game, 3 homer in the playoffs. It was a great game, a singular game. Was it a close game? That game? Or it was a blowout, right? I'm pretty sure. Anyway, that was against Milwaukee last year in the postseason, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay, it was a great individual. Other guys have had great games before. Oh, but yeah, 10 strikeouts in one game and 3 homers in a game. Yeah, okay, it's a great accomplishment, a great feat. Other players in sports have had great feats. The appeal of Ohtani is supposed to be that he could pitch and hit. And he doesn't do both, or hasn't done both at a high level consistently enough. And when he doesn't pitch, he's not playing the field. He's not playing. I'd value a guy who plays shortstop at a high level more so than I would a guy who pitches on occasion. They play 162 games. He's impacted 14 of them with his arm. Pitching. 14. How could that be valuable? 14 games of 162. 14 games he's pitched. I'm sorry, but it doesn't make sense to me. Let's close with the bet of the night. And it's something that I heard from Herm Edwards that got me motivated here. It's not going to be a bet specific to tonight, but a future bet. I'm with Herm in that I love Josh Allen. And I'm also a law of averages guy. At some point, they got to break through. Maybe the head coaching change will lift them to another level. Moving on from What I want to say McDonough. Why am I getting what the hell's his name? Was it McDonough? Sean? What the hell is his name? The head coach of the Bills. Tyler, help me out here. Why am I forgetting his
Sean
name?
McDermott.
McDermott. That's it. I had McDonough in my hand. Sean McDermott. Moving on from McDermott, will finally get them over the hump. I think it just might. Also, looking at the landscape of the AFC, I'm going to ride with Josh Allen. Give me the Bills. Was this to win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl? What did we say before, Tyler? Was this to win the 10-1 odds?
Yep, to win.
Yeah, to win. I'd prefer to do the AFC, but I forgot that I asked you to win the Super Bowl. Give me the Bills. I'm convincing in this. Give me the Bills to win the Super Bowl. 10-1 odds right now. That is my bet. Now, it's way early in July, but give me the Bills at 10-1. I think that's a good price for the Bills. I know the Rams are going to be the favorite by everybody else. If you look at the landscape of the AFC, at some point the Bills will break through. Herm talked about it. Everybody else is caught up with Kansas City. Maybe the AFC West beats each other up. Texans, great defense. Still questions about C.J. Stroud. I think the AFC South is going to be better this year. Lamar, no Harbaugh there. Aaron Rodgers, Bengals, better defense. Maybe they beat each other up. I think the Bills will reign supreme in the AFC East. I know the Patriots are good. They went to the Super Bowl last year. Who knows with Vrabel and some of his off-the-field issues. I know they had A.J. Brown. So on paper, May and Brown, I'm going to ride with the Bills. And I think this will be the year the Bills get themselves new stadium, maybe some good karma there. This will be the year the Bills get back to a Super Bowl and finally exercise the demons and win a Super Bowl. Something Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Marv Levy couldn't do. Win it. All right, that does it for us. Thanks to everybody on the show. There's like 1,500 of you guys here. Did you send me all the list of who I need to thank? Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. I don't even have it. I think Bill might have sent it to me, but I deleted the text. Oh, yeah, here it is, Bill. Thanks to Tyler, Kenny, Mike, Dan, and Laura. We appreciate all your help. We appreciate the opportunity to fill in here for Kostos. I love him. He'll be back with you soon enough.
This is Westwood One's.
Bye.